Slaughter daughter, the badass bitch. As you were. Hey, I can't figure out how to get my face on. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome. Thanks, Rudy. I can't figure out how to get my face on.
Well, we'll just have to do it without you.
I'm trying. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Rudy. Say hi to everybody, Rudy. No? Okay, close my door. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Slaughter Daughter House.
Hello.
I am your host, Kelly Slaughter Daughter Rebus. This is my dad, Bob.
Oh, now I'm Bob, huh? Ever since the biography, now I'm Bob.
Yeah.
Used to be Dad, now I'm Bob.
Yeah, used to be dad. Now, okay. I don't think this mouse is working. My son gave me a mouse. There we go. Man, you guys, it's been a day.
My guardian angels are looking after me, so be careful.
And be careful.
Yeah.
All right, let me get to the comments here. Dad, how are you?
Do I look like I'm on camera? I can't tell.
Yes, you do look like you're on camera.
Okay. I look like I'm about 20,000 pounds.
Well, get closer to the camera.
I can't.
Can you get closer to the...
Get any closer. My knees are up against the counter now. Okay.
Oh, gotcha. All right. So we already have some people in the comments here. So
great.
Let's say hello. So Space Commander. Yes, because you can't see them.
I can see him. I just can't read.
So Space Commander says, good luck with tonight's show. We'll catch the replay. Hope to have something interesting to send to Paul soon. Nighty night. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for the comment.
You were a real treat to meet, and hope to have our paths cross again soon. And you were not at all what I expected when I met you. I saw you in a different light.
Oh, in a good way.
Well, yeah, Space Commander light. Yeah, he's kind of like a character in professional wrestling or in a movie, or in a Broadway show or whatever. He was different than he was on camera with us all those years.
Yeah. It was nice to see his face.
Yeah. So his face is a handsome guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Webomaniacs, World of Wrestling, is almost off work and ready for the show.
Great.
Zazel's here. He says good morning from Australia.
Right. Thanks for all the great comments on the biography, Zazel. Appreciate it. You were in it.
Yes. He was in it. And some other people that we know were in it.
Yeah.
I was in it. I don't know who that girl was that was crying the whole time.
Oh, man. Jeez.
My friend Nivea is here. She says, good luck, Kelly. You met Nivea, Dad, at my New Year's party.
Yes. I like Nivea. She drank a lot of Bloody Marys.
You drank Bloody Marys together?
Yeah, we drank a lot of together, yeah. I was going to make her the honorary bartender, but she drifted off somewhere.
She makes, so she's from Brazil, and she makes this Brazilian dessert, and she brought it to the party. It was the first thing that was gone, like before people even ate the other food. Like her treat was gone. Yeah. So I asked her to make it for me for my birthday. I don't even know what it was. I have no
don't
idea what
either.
it was called, nothing.
I never saw it. Never got a taste of it.
Yeah. Blues is here. He said, "Is it
Yeah.
time for tea?" Not
Yeah.
yet. We will get to that.
Yes.
He does want to know if we crossed Abbey Road,
We
and
didn't
we
get that
didn't.
far.
Is Abbey Road in Liverpool? Where is Abbey Road?
I believe it's in Liverpool, and we've been invited to possibly go back to Liverpool. So that'd be fun, and Dubai. But we're working on all that. But I hope we get to get back there so I can make a little jaunt over to Abbey Road, where it all kind of started for the Beatles. See that
Yes, and it
nightclub?
would be a very good.
Yeah.
It would be a very good photo op to do
Hi.
that.
How are you, Josh?
Josh says hi. Keith
Yes.
says hi, but he only says hi to me. He
Yeah.
doesn't say hi to you.
I I can imagine why. He doesn't want to
Well,
do it.
Luke is here. You remember Luke? He says, "Evening
Yes.
all 10 hut," from Luke and
As you
Emma
were.
in the UK.
As you were. Carry on. How's that?
Yes, we had dinner with Luke our last
Yes.
night, or
Yes.
my last night in Manchester, Saturday night,
Right.
and his wife Emma, who is absolutely lovely, and I can't wait to talk about Manchester.
Good.
Um, so Derek
Yes.
O'Shield says, "You are the Sarge." That's right, because I was calling you Bob.
Yeah. Exactly.
Walter's here. He tuned into my the podcast that I
They
did
talked
with
already.
Bartender's Jukebox yesterday. He says, "Hey Bob, hey
Yeah.
Kelly," and he said, "Can I call you Bob, Sarge?"
Yeah. Bob in capital letters. Yes, my name is Bob. My given name was Robert. If I would have been born a girl, I would have been Roberta. And my mother never called me Robert. She called me Bobby. And when I got bad, she called me Bob or Robert, which was all the
So
time.
you were right. So you were Bob or Robert when you were bad?
Yeah. And I was Bobby all the other time.
Gotcha.
Her sweet little boy.
So Blue says, so the biography book is a go?
It is.
I don't know, is it?
Well, you take a look at the biography, and it was a 2 hour show, and it's hard to put 75 plus years of your life in a 2 hour show. So I'm definitely going to have to write a book because they sure left a whole lot out that didn't get in there. In fact, a lot of people were a little disappointed they didn't see a little bit more Mid Atlantic wrestling with the United States Heavyweight Championship, the NWA United States Championship that I held, and I made pretty much like the world title because Ric Flair had the world title and he was always gone other parts of the country. So the U.S. title was basically their main title there. And then, of course, Don Kernodle and I, being the world NWA World Tag Team Champions against Steamboat Youngblood, among countless opponents that we had, but they didn't cover much of that. And a lot of people were kind of disappointed about that. They weren't disappointed in the biography, but they were kind of disappointed there wasn't more Mid Atlantic wrestling in it.
Yes. Irvin Mike LaRue said he enjoyed meeting you all the way back in 1983 at the JFK Coliseum in New Hampshire.
Yeah, New Hampshire. I love New Hampshire. Gosh, that was fun to go up there. It's that and Vermont and all the great places in Massachusetts where all the, me with lobster, lobster
Oh
rolls.
yeah.
I mean, they were like, it
Yes.
was like every 10 miles, there'd be a sign, the best lobster rolls in the world. And of course, I had to stop and try every one of them. Excuse me. Still getting over
Is
my cold I caught over in England, UK.
is Dad, is Legal Seafood still your favorite place to go for seafood in Boston?
Yeah, one of them. I like Kelly's also. Kelly's Seafood.
Is Kelly's Seafood?
Yeah,
I
that's
thought you
a
were talking about Kelly like me, and I was
no.
like, I don't think I've ever cooked lobster in my life. What are you talking about?
Oh, no, it's a place called Kelly's.
Patrick says hello.
Yeah, I've had.
Gaz says hello, Evening Legends with a thumb kiss.
Yes.
General Ben says, Yo, Joe. Have a
Yo,
great
Joe.
show, Sarge.
Yo, Joe.
And Brahma, I hope I'm saying your name right, and I sincerely apologize if I'm not, but he says Road is in London.
Oh, it is. Oh, I thought it was
Yeah, I didn't know that, or I
closer to Liverpool.
totally would have gone.
Oh, we would have. Yeah, when we would
Yeah.
have had time. When we
Well,
would have had time.
I would have gone.
Good evening, Brom. And
Joe and
yeah,
Melissa are here. They say hi.
hi, hi, Joe.
Brian says, Yo, Joe.
Yo, Joe.
Jody says, Hi, Sarge. Miss you.
Miss you too.
Um,
Miss you all. Just kind of
you
traveled
actually met
up and
Brahma.
I had this week off, which was nice. Luckily, I wasn't on the road, so I could recuperate. I don't know what I caught. I might have caught pneumonia over there in the UK or something because I tested negative for COVID, but I had a cough and a sneeze and a runny nose, and it was horrible. I'm glad I didn't have to do any autographs and take photos with people like that. But I'm pretty well.
Yeah, I've had that too.
Yeah, you had it
I've
too.
had it too. It's allergies, Dad. It's the
Oh,
pollen. Haven't you
the
seen all the
allergy.
pollen
Oh,
on all the cars?
sorry, UK. I was blaming you.
Brahma said, Great to meet you when you were in London. I gave you my Union Jack pin badge. Do you
Yes, you
remember?
did. You
He's
did.
still got your coin and a signed belt.
I have it in my collection of coins and badges and pins that I received from fans, not only wrestling, but G.I. Joe. And it's right there. I love it.
Yeah.
I bought a,
So Walter said,
yeah,
sorry, Walter said that the biography was amazing. It's about time we got one. I have to admit, I got all emotional with Kelly when she was on screen. I always supported and rooted for you, whether you were a good or a bad guy.
thank you. Thank
So,
you.
listen, Walter, I feel things very deeply. And I was so nervous doing that interview. First of all, I was late because that guy right there told me that it was only 20 minutes to get there and it was actually 40 and I was already running late. So I was like an hour late, first of
Mm,
all. And I
oh,
hate being late. And
hi,
then
Chad.
the cameras were what, Dad?
Oh, saying hi to Chad.
Oh, okay. Then the cameras, the way they were set up, it was not my good side. So then I'm sitting there going, I am not like at that point in my life where I can be like, excuse me, you're gonna have to change the cameras around so you get my good side. So I was like, oh my God, it's my bad side. And I'm freaking out. And the first question he asked me, I just started bawling. Charlene says hi.
Hi,
Joe
good evening.
Beavis. Hey, Joe. Hey,
And
he says hi, Kelly and Sarge. So Joe is an old friend of mine. We go way back to a long time ago.
oh,
And we used to go to raves together
oh,
and have lots of fun.
yeah.
And his mom, who I love, his last name is Bemis, and my last name is Remus. And so
Ah,
every time I would go over to Joe's house, his mom would go, Remus Bemis, Remus Bemis. See, if you got married, there wouldn't be that much of a difference.
yeah, yeah. A lot of times
Oh
people
man.
spell my name Remis.
Yeah. I
They
get
sent
people spelling my
me
name like that too.
they used to send me things.
So let's see. We're like way behind in this chat. So instead of going through everyone, we'll just say Claudette is here. She says hi. David's
Howdy.
here. Um, he says from Cobra Law, Serpentor or
Ooh,
Serpentor. Sorry,
yes.
Serpentor from
Uh-oh.
Cobra Law says greetings and looking forward to seeing you again at Joe Fest.
Cobra la 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 la. I get a Cobra clutch with your name on it, Serpentor. Remember what I did to Nemesis Enforcer?
That's right.
Yeah, it was great seeing you all in
Luke
Lexington
says his
too. Great show in Lexington. Wow. Good
yes.
time, good time in Lexington. My son-in-law, your brother-in-law, Kelly, he got to come to Lexington and kind of help us work a little bit on the booth where we were, just to see if he might want to help us out when we need to have some replacements when my agent Paul goes on the Rolling Stones circuit. He's going to leave me for a few weekends by myself. So I have Dean Archer, of course, and we're trying to see if Jason might have interest in subbing for a few shows here and there. Kyle from Green Bay. All right. Yeah. Love
So
Green Bay.
Keith wants to know, when is the biography supposed to come out? And I think that we may have confused people. So the
Oh,
biography on A&E is already out. You can watch it on the A&E app. His book biography hadn't been written yet. We've been
no.
asking and it
It's
hadn't
all
been
up.
done.
It's all up here. I just got to put it down there. Been talking to a couple different people that have some writers that are interested in doing it. So yes, I'm hoping to make it to Waterloo this year because they're having the 25th anniversary, and I'm trying to keep the weekend open. So I'm hopefully, Kyle, I'll see you there.
So John wants to know if you have an official Facebook page. He sees a lot of pages. He can't tell which one is real, and then he follows you on Instagram. Yes, he has an official Facebook page. It's Sergeant Slaughter. I almost said Slaughter Daughter.
Yeah,
It's Slaughter Daughter. No, that would be mine. Um, it's the picture is of him, and it says the official Sergeant Slaughter or official page of Sergeant Slaughter or something like that. But I actually linked it on my Kelly Slaughter profile on Facebook. And so if you're not friends with me there, you're not going to see it. So I will actually go through and link it to Slaughter Daughter page. And you can, so that you know that that is his actual profile. Because, yeah, there are some fakes out there. Um,
I am
okay.
on
So
Instagram.
Amanda's here, my beautiful friend. What?
I'm on Instagram too, but I
Yes,
don't know
he
how
already
to.
follows you on Instagram.
You haven't showed me how to answer back yet.
I will show you how. He's also on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Hmm.
But Amanda says, love the biography. What a beautiful story about love, strength, and success.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Not necessarily in that order. Thank you. Thank you, Keith.
So Wesley is also watching with Joe and Melissa, and he could challenge anyone to a Sergeant Slaughter trivia because you are his number one hero.
Wow.
And you talked to him at Joe Fest for a long time last year, and he still talks about it. And they will be at Joe Fest again this year. I'll be at Joe Fest. Are you going to be at Joe Fest, Dad?
I am. I am. It's already etched in stone. Going to be bigger and better than any of the others. And don't forget to, if you have a chance, to have breakfast with Sarge while you're there. And I don't think it's been announced yet on how to do all that, but they are going to have another breakfast with Sarge, and I'm trying to talk them into doing a nighttime kind of a lounge with Sarge, after hours with the Sarge. So we can tell some really juicy, fun stories about what it was like to be with some of those guys on the road, like Roddy Piper and Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Jimmy Fly Super Snuka, and list goes on. Andre the Giant. Oh my God! Talk about being in the wrong place at the right time. He taught me how to drink beer. I'll tell you that. He
All right,
said,
I have a feeling that Zazel put your Zazel. I'm really behind, but is this the link to my dad's profile on Facebook?
that's probably what it is. He's so
Yeah,
helpful,
I'm thinking that's what it is.
very
Yes.
helpful.
Oh, yep. Yep, right here.
Okay,
So
good.
Zazel has it in the comments for you guys. Um, so definitely check that out.
Sure glad
There's
I didn't
lots of
have to
questions
memorize
here.
that.
Right. Well, what we need to do, Dad, is get you verified. And somebody sent me a link to how to get you verified. So you're already verified on X. We need to get you verified on Facebook, um, so that there is no question about which Facebook page is yours.
Oh,
Um,
look who's on. Jennifer and Gloria.
yeah, Gloria and Jenny.
Hi,
Hey,
hi,
Gloria and Jen.
Diane.
Love you
Diane,
guys.
Jennifer, and Gloria are on. She won't come on. Oh,
No, I'm not gonna come on.
I don't have my makeup on.
Well, I almost didn't have my makeup on and I was struggling to get my makeup on. I finally got all my makeup on. I was like, all right, I want to wear my London shirt because it's my Phantom London shirt.
Ooh,
And I was like, I want to wear that for the show. And I opened up my armoire and I pulled it out and it came and smacked me in the face and all of my mascara went underneath my eyes.
oh no.
To like
Uh,
wash it all off and start over. And I was already running late,
uh,
so then I didn't get to do my hair.
yeah. How's Michael doing?
So Luke says,
How's
I
that
love your
training going?
Phantom shirt.
Hope
Huh?
Michael's doing well in the training.
Michael passed his most recent test um, with high, um, like, I think he got like a 96 or something like that.
Oh,
Craig says hi. Craig from my neighborhood. He lives on the street. Craig says hi.
yeah,
So, Dad,
yeah.
I think I've caught up with everybody in the chat. Here's Nick. Robert says hi, legend. Peggy Lori says hi.
Hi, Peg.
Oh, here we go. Jonathan is here. He's your number one fan. He says hi there, Kelly Slaughter and Sergeant Slaughter.
Hi, how are you? Yo, Joe.
Hey, Keep It Real podcast is here. Hey,
Mm,
girls, how are
hey,
you?
keep it real.
That's Cindy and Destiny from the Keep It Real podcast.
Yeah,
They I was on their show last week. I think it was last Friday, this past Friday.
got the highest
So that was
ratings, I
really
heard.
fun.
I heard they got the
Huh?
highest ratings with you on the show.
Well, I don't know about that, but thanks. So let's see, Dad, let's talk about. All right, so for everybody that's watching, just know that I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. So there was some way to put my photos from the trip into a file, and then I could like upload the file, and then it would like show, and it would be like we'd be on the side of the screen, and then the pictures would be in the middle. I can't figure out how to get I'm really not that dumb, but I cannot figure out. I've had people try to help me. I can't figure it out. How to get the pictures from my phone onto my computer. I have no idea how to do it. It won't work. It will not work. I've had people try to help me. It won't work. I think it's because I have an Apple and my computer's Microsoft. So they're just not compatible. So I guess I need a MacBook. Dad, I need a MacBook.
Okay. You have
So
to.
anyway, I had to upload
Yeah.
all of the pictures as an overlay. So it's going to completely cover our faces. But It is what it is, right?
Yeah. I want you to tell
So,
the.
Dad,
I want you to start with the UK trip, and before we sign off tonight, I want to give a shout out to my good friend out there, Jim Cornett. So don't let me forget that.
okay,
I think
I
he,
sure
I think
will.
he was my good friend. So
Um,
you're on.
yeah. All right. So, let's talk about the
How
trip over to the UK.
how easy it was to get through customs out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I was actually waiting for you, and you got through faster than I did. And I've got TSA and everything that you can imagine, and you beat me through. So I'm
You
waiting and
mean
waiting
through
and waiting.
security, not customs?
Finally, you said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm waiting for you." You said, "I'm at the gate. I've been at the gate for a half hour." And I said, "Well, I thought you would be stuck taking your shoes and everything off." And anyway, you go ahead. Go ahead. I won't stop you.
Yeah. So, we get to the airport. It's been a while since I've flown, and so everything is like self-service pretty much. And so we got through all of that. You had to like help me, tell me where to go and all of that stuff. And so we got through all of that, and then like you said, we went through security, not customs. We went through security in Charlotte, and I got to the gate first, and I'm waiting, 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 can't find you. Finally, you're like, I'm at the end of security waiting for you. I'm like, well, I'm at the gate. So you come to the gate and you're like, they sent me an email or they sent me a message that they want to upgrade me to business class. Hoo, hoo, hoo. She to you. And you said, I said no because I wanted to sit with my daughter. And I was like, please. I'm like, Dad, go. If any of us deserve to sit business class, it's you. So what did you do?
I tried to talk you into sitting there.
You went to the gate and you got the seat, and then you came over and you tried to hand me the ticket,
Yeah, I did.
and I refused it. And then I totally threw you under the bus on Facebook, and I said, my dad got upgraded to business and left me in the dust.
I think it was more first
But
class. We were in business class.
no, we were in like the premium
Oh,
seats.
oh, I never.
And then you were in you got upgraded to business, which is like first class. And it's like where you get to lay down. Like you have your own little space, you get to lay down, all this. I mean, it's like amazing. So I'm like, no, Dad, like out of the two of us, you deserve to sit in business class. Like go enjoy. It's an overnight flight. You can get some sleep. I know I'm not getting any sleep. And so at the end, we get off the plane and I did not get any sleep. And you said, I didn't get any sleep either. I couldn't figure out how to lay the seat.
I couldn't figure it out. I was, I was too, because I normally fly first class. I didn't want to sound like an idiot, so I never asked any of the stewardesses or anything. How do you make the seat go up so I can put my feet up? So I sat there with a big pillow on my lap through the whole flight. Couldn't even get my computer to work to hear any music or
Yeah, you
anything.
have Wi-Fi. You
Yeah,
can listen to
couldn't get
music.
it.
You just like sat there for 7 hours.
Yeah, just sat there like a bump on a log. It was stupid.
I sat there and tried to sleep and I couldn't sleep. And
Hello,
I
Tim.
think I just couldn't get comfortable. And my head, like the way the pillow was, there was like too much, there was like long, small pillow. It was small but long. and I couldn't get it right between the space between my seat and the window, so the pillow kept falling,
Mm.
and then I was like on the window. I couldn't figure it out, and then afterwards, I'm like getting off the plane, and I look at the guy next to me, and the seat had these little things that folded out so you could rest your head, and I didn't know it did that.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Um,
I knew that.
yeah.
Hi,
So,
Bill.
um, we get there and we all get to the hotel. We get through security, we get through customs. That's when we got through customs, and it was fun. I mean, we get through and we just kept walking right through. It was no biggie.
Walking,
Um,
right. We walked a lot after we got off the plane.
we did. We did walk a lot. Well, we had to walk a lot because we had to meet Paul, who was at a different terminal.
Yeah,
And what we should have done was had him meet us
right.
instead of the other way around. But
Yeah,
um, so we went to the hotel and we got some sleep. We took naps and then we went to see Phantom of the Opera in London, and we ate at the Savoy in London, which is Gordon Ramsay's restaurant.
yeah.
Yay, there it is. So that's us at the hey.
I,
So that was us at the Savoy, and it was absolutely delicious. Here's us with Paul. So if any of you want to know who Paul is, that's Paul right there,
yeah,
sitting next to me. I'm in the middle.
that's my manager,
Um,
booking agent.
yes, booking agent and friend, Paul. So anytime people reach out to me and they need something from you, they want an autograph, they want to ask a question, they want to know where you're going to be at, I'm like, Paul Inserto, that's who you need to talk to. I don't do any of that. I don't know his schedule. I have no idea when the next time he's going to be in wherever place. Um, they want an autograph. I tell them, talk to Paul. So we go and eat this beautiful and delicious dinner at the Savoy, and then we went and saw Phantom of the Opera, and it was a amazing show. I've seen the Broadway production twice in New York. Um, I saw it last year right before they closed. And Phantom in New York was amazing. Um, Loved it. But there's something about the London production and the London cast. Like in New York, they are singing their hearts out, right? Like they hit the notes, they sing the songs, they do a wonderful job. In London, they felt the music. They sang it with emotion. They were singing the hearts out, but they were singing it out with such emotion. And there were things that I picked up on that I'd never picked up on before. And I had the soundtrack on tape, then I had it on CD. Like I wore out the tape, got the CD, like I wore it out and with the music and everything. And there was things that I picked up on. There were parts of the play that I cried at that I'd never like I was just so moved by the performance and the way they did everything. It was absolutely amazing. That is where Phantom started. That's where Andrew Lloyd Webber, his very first Phantom was there. And then they branched out to other places. It was amazing. I got this shirt. I got a little bag, like a reusable bag that I used the whole time that we were in England. Um, but the best thing for me, and this is us at the show, the best thing for me was our seats. And our seats were so good. We were basically right in the middle underneath the chandelier. And I don't know if people know the story of Phantom and what happens, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I feel like I'm about to spoil something. So If you don't want a spoiler alert for Phantom of the Opera, then stop watching now and come back in a little bit, or like blank your screen or something like that, okay? So
La la la
the
la
chandelier,
la
you
la.
were there, you
Oh,
saw it happen.
yeah, okay.
Um, the chandelier phantom gets angry, right? And he was like, I'm coming for you. And he makes the chandelier fall and land on the stage, right? On the for the actors that are there. And so it literally was right over our heads. Oh no, this is a video and it's not playing. Darn it. So this is a video of them after the chandelier falls. After the chandelier falls, it comes straight down, right? And so we're looking up and like I know because I've seen the production before, so I know that the chandelier comes down and then goes towards the stage, right? But sitting directly under that thing, I was like, is it gonna move the other way anytime soon? That thing came close to us, like you could feel the wind, right, Dad?
Yeah, yeah. I got
You
scared.
obviously didn't care as much about the chandelier as I did. Okay,
I
that's fine.
thought it was fabulous.
So after that, we went out and had another bite to eat. Apparently it
Let
wasn't
me
enough for us.
let me ask you a question before you go any further. Did the uh, other operas that you saw in New York have the orchestra, the live orchestra?
Yes.
Oh, it did. Okay, because that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You couldn't see him, but you could hear him. You know, that was pretty cool.
I could see them when we stood up and I of course like when Christine and Raul come in for their final curtain curtain call, everyone's clapping, everyone's clapping. Phantom comes out, I like jump out of my seat. I'm like,
Yeah,
and then everybody else stood up because I stood up. But I was like, I mean, I was so moved. I really wish that we could have gone backstage afterwards. There was an option to meet the cast before the show, but I would have loved to have talked to the cast after the show and just gushed over them and told them how much I loved it and how much better they were than New
well,
York.
listening,
And
maybe
New York was great, but they were just it was just fantastic.
they might be listening to your podcast. Some of them. So tell
Well,
them.
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I just did.
Okay. All right.
I just told him it was absolutely amazing. It was the best Phantom I've ever seen, and it was amazing. It was amazing. So we've got some comments here. Let's see. Um, TJC is here. So Terry is here. We had dinner with Terry in Manchester and his son Jace. He
Good
says hi.
evening. Yes. Or good morning to you. Yes. Thanks.
Um, Terry, Jace is his son, the little boy with the blonde hair.
Yes, I
He
know.
reminded me so much of Rudy, except
Yeah.
Rudy's very well behaved, but Jace was very well behaved. Rudy would have been like, can I use your phone? Where's my iPad? He needs he's not just going to sit there and listen to the adults talk. And Jace sat there and listened to the adults talk and engaged in the conversation too. It was great. Brahma wants to know if you got recognized a lot while you were out and about in the UK.
Yes. We got recognized right off the bat when we were waiting for your bag. Remember the two guys that were handling the baggage, and we were wondering how to get to the other terminal. So I kind of like was gonna ask them something. They came running over. You Sergeant Slaughter. You Sergeant Slaughter in their British accent. And I said, boy, this is going to be a good tour because we're already being recognized here. And when we got to the hotel and we were waiting to check in, I had to use the restroom. So I walked around to use the men's room. And when I came around the corner, a gentleman went, "Sergeant Slaughter? I can't believe, are you Sergeant Slaughter?" And that, I wasn't dressed up as I was just Bob, kind of Bob, a little bit of Sarge. I might have had something on that looked like but anyway, he recognized me right off the bat, and I said, "Boy, this is going to be great." And of course,
Yeah.
we went to a couple of restaurants, and it was fun. A lot of fun time. I definitely go back again sooner than I did the last time I went, because I waited way too long to go back.
I had a great time, Dad, and there's so much more I want to see. So if you can like hurry up and get booked.
Yeah, yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it.
And Brahma just said that Jake Roberts is going to be visiting Scotland soon.
Yes, I know. There's a bunch of them going to be going over there. I think the WWE is going over for a wrestling tour, a wrestling event, and of course, while they're there, they usually spend a week or maybe more, depending on their schedule, and they tour around. And of course, they have more availability to do things than we did. We were just there to do our thing and have you go along and vacation and show us places to go, and tell them about some of the places you went.
I will. Well, first, I want to say hi to Phil from Treasures for Trigger. He says, Konnichiwa, Kelly and Sarge. So he is a Kiwi that lives in Japan.
Oh, wow.
So he's saying Konnichiwa to us.
Yes. Hello.
So Anthony's want to know is if the London was better than the Phantom with Billy Zane. Was that the one that had wasn't Gerard Butler the wasn't
Was
he
it
in it
movie?
somewhere? Or I think I'm mixing up Phantom and Les Mis. Um, Phantom with Billy Zane. Who is that girl that played Christine? I didn't like the movie. Simple as that. So yeah, it was better than the one with Billy Zane. Um, let's see.
Was there a Phantom of the Opera movie?
Yes, there's a Phantom of the Opera movie. There's actually a couple Phantom of the Opera movies. They used to have us watch it in school. I remember growing up, and then they came out with like a new one.
Oh,
Um, so Mike says, "Hi, Sergeant Beautiful Kelly."
oh,
A lot of us appreciate these podcasts. I had a hard decision growing up to join the military and follow Sarge's character, or the big boss man and become a policeman. Ray's character won out. And he says, "Thank you for all the memories growing up. Much respect to you, sir." So Mike didn't know if he wanted to be in the military or a police officer, correction officer. And so he went the way of Ray Trailer.
I think Ray would be very proud.
So,
I'm sure he would have. Yeah, I'm sure he is looking down on all your hard work that you did. Ray was not sure if he was a law enforcement agent. I know he was. He worked in a prison. He was a prison guard. I'm not sure if he was in the military itself, but thank you for picking one of us anyway to follow, and I'm happy you did. I think probably the country's happy you did too.
yeah, thank you for your service.
Thanks for all of you
So,
men and women that followed my path of Sergeant Slaughter's character and joined the military. I get it 20 times a day. Thank you for what you did, Sarge. You're the reason I joined the military. So I can't thank you all enough for that. They say I was the biggest recruiter that the military ever had, even though I wasn't able to serve myself because of my lazy eye, which Jim Cornette Wasn't sure if I had, but yes, Jim, I had a lazy eye from the day I was born.
He
Yeah,
said, I didn't know he had a lazy eye until he got older, and then I noticed it. Well, you don't just all of a sudden get a lazy eye, do you?
no, I
Do you
don't
just
believe.
all of a sudden get a lazy eye without having an injury or something? I mean, he's an idiot, Dad. That
Well,
guy, he's dumb.
you can say what you want about him. He's still,
He was never a, I've tuned into some of his shows here and there, and he's not even, he's not even worth my time, actually. When's
he's
his
got his own
biography
way.
coming out? Do you know?
He's got his own way. Always has. He has his own following, but he talked about my biography, and he made a lot of mistakes, things that he thought he knew, but he was way off, way off. How would he even know? Because he wasn't even born when I was,
Well, Dad, his whole show was misinformation. He was sitting there saying that you lived in Burlington, North Carolina, which is where Burlington Coat Factory came from.
yeah,
And that's not where Burlington Coat Factory came from. Coat Factory was started in New Jersey.
yeah, yeah. Well, we'll get to
He's
him later. I mean, let's just keep talking about your trip. All right.
okay. All right, we'll talk about him later. Um, so that was Wednesday, and then Thursday, what did you do on Thursday, Dad?
I went to Glasgow. Uh, Actually, I did a show in London on Thursday, and had a great turnout there. We decided to do a couple of shows before we did the Manchester, where everybody else was going to be. Trish Stratus and Lita, Rhino, Jake Hager, Sean Waltman, Rikishi, Matt Riddle. I'll probably leave somebody out. What's her name? Mandy Sachs, Scott Steiner, Ken Shamrock, Elijah, Mark Merrow, C.J. Perry, Hornswoggle, Al Snow, Shelton Benjamin, Nunzio, Nick Nemeth, John Morrison, one of my favorite guys. I probably left some names out of there, but we all had a great time in Manchester. But before I went to Manchester, Paul and I booked two shows, one in London and one in Glasgow. It was more of a kind of a meet and greet type of thing where you had a night with the Sarge, where I came out and signed autographs, told a few stories, and then we took a break, and then we came back out and we did a little kind of a question and answer with the fans that were there, and there was a lot of wrestling, GI Joe, and uh, Action Force fans there. So it's really a lot of fun, a lot of great questions, and we just had a great time, both not only in London but in Glasgow, and made a lot of new friends. Had the fans, but now they're all pretty much my friends because we were in a close environment there, and I'm sure I spit on a lot of you. I apologize, but that part of my character. Not that I want to, it just I have this bite and I can't stop the saliva from flying out. But we had a lot of fun stories of Degeneration X, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H, of how we used to, no, we didn't have scripts back then. So it was just kind of most ad lib, and we would try to do crazy things to make each other laugh on television, live television. And a few times they tried the windshield wiper. I'm sure a lot of people remember the clear welding mask with the windshield wipers hooked on. And I got the last laugh on that because after they took them off, I slobbered all over them. I mean, on purpose.
I remember.
I just went up to them and I was like, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, Jesus, sorry. But so we had a lot of stories in London and Glasgow about all those days, and of course about GI Joe, how it got into GI Joe, and Action Force and all those things, and how Sergeant Slaughter wasn't used over there. It was Sergeant Slammer because they thought Slaughter was too harsh for the young uh, generation there. So I was Sergeant Slammer. So I had to, you know, I told them how hard it is for me to sign Sergeant Slammer because I'm not used to signing it. But we got through. It was a lot of fun. Great time.
Well, good. I'm glad that you had a good time.
Yeah.
Um, so Dad,
And I put a lot of people in
John
Cobra
says,
Clutch.
huh?
I have a lot more members of the Cobra Clutch Club, and I have a little less challenge coins because a lot of people lined up to get a Cobra Clutch and earn my challenge coin. So all you out there, not only in the UK and around the world, but in the USA, I still got lots of them. So come by whenever you see us somewhere in your city.
John wants to know, he said you mentioned Action Force. How did you get hooked up with that? And is more coming from that? I was excited for the figure. It was a surprise.
Yes, a gentleman approached us who used to work for Hasbro, and he left Hasbro, and I'm not sure if he got let go or if he left on his own, but he saw that Action Force that Hasbro didn't keep up the licensing, so it was available. So he called and said, "If I can get the licensing, will you consider, doing an Action Force figure?" And I said, "Sure." So he got it, and we went to town and started doing the Action Force. Did 2 comic books, I believe, and told the story of how the Sarge was retired, but he came out of retirement to help beat the problem that was going on with what was the group, the Swarm, and what was the other group? My problem, I just don't keep up with this enough. But anyway, there was 2 factions that were trying to take over each state of the United States. So the president of the United States came to Sergeant Slaughter and asked him to help. And I was kind of retired and I had a bad leg and bad knee, but I suited up and helped him uh, win the battle. And I guess it's still going on. I'm not sure what's going on with Action Force because when we re-enlisted with GI Joe, the gentleman that was running Action Force got a little mad at me or mad at us or whatever. But I thought we could all work together because it was all the same thing anyway. GI Joe and Action Force are the same thing, just different names.
Yeah. So,
I didn't want to give him too
thanks
much
for,
because he's not being very nice to us,
right.
and he owes
Well, like I
me,
said, huh?
and he owes me money.
He owes you money?
Yes, he does. They
I've heard
sold
that
a
he owes a
lot.
lot of people money.
They sold a lot of them, but I'm hoping that we can do some more. That would be great. Never say never.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could do some more. I personally wouldn't do work with anybody that owes me money until they pay me, but
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. Tough Nerd Toy said Sarge always made me feel love being an American. Sorry. Sarge always made me love being an American. Growing up as a black child, Sarge always made me feel color didn't matter as would watch him give high fives to everyone while walking in the ring.
Oh yeah.
And Dad, were there wrestlers that wouldn't high five the black people or people of color?
I have no idea. I did. I had no problem. Uh, American is an American. I don't care if you're
Right.
yellow, purple, green, brown, black, white, turquoise. If you're an American, you're uh, my heroes. We all been through a lot, and we need to stay together. We
Yes.
can't be
Divided we
separated.
stand,
How do you
united
how
we
do you
no.
separate American by
United
color?
we stand, divided we fall.
Yeah.
I had that so
How
backwards.
do you separate an American by color? Doesn't make any sense to me. We all have the same
Right.
color blood, don't we?
Right.
Okay. Well, then we're all Americans.
Yes, you and mom always taught us that it didn't matter what somebody looked like, it didn't matter what the color of their skin was, that we treated everyone the same, no matter what they look like. If they had disabilities, if they looked differently than us, you always taught Nicole and I that we
Right.
treat everyone the same, no matter what. Unless they were mean to us.
Right.
That
That
we could be
that was
mean
a
back,
different
but
that was a different thing if they were mean. I always
right,
taught you two to always stick up for yourselves and never let anybody take advantage of you or be bad to you or mean to you. So to not to back down. And it's funny how you and your sister learned so much from your mother and I and your grandparents because our youngest granddaughter, Cora, has a black Barbie she plays with all the time. She doesn't look at it as a black person. She just looks at it as Barbie. You know, it's amazing. She picked it out. Like, we took her to a store and said, "Which Barbie do you want?" And she picked the black one, which shows me that not only did we teach you, but you taught your children too. I remember.
well, I think
Did one of you get a black? What were those dolls called that everybody was trying to?
Cabbage Patch, that was me,
Cabbage.
my very first
Yeah.
Cabbage Patch, yeah.
I mean,
It's a really interesting topic and it's so much for us to go into and now the thing is that you don't teach them to be colorblind. That you
right.
do teach them that there is a difference and that people do get treated differently. And so I do talk to my kids about that and um my son has people of color as his friends and I talk to him about that and that, if he is out with his friends and like the police were to come, like how he should handle that and not to just like run and leave his friends there. Like he needs to stay and, with his friends and stuff. And it's a very hot topic and we should probably save it for another time.
Yeah, sure, of course.
But I do teach my kids that it doesn't matter we're all people and that we treat everybody the same. But
Right.
I do talk about racism with my kids because it does exist, unfortunately. So let's
New
see.
Colonia, New Colonia. I
Yeah,
just
New
remember
Colonia.
New Colonia.
Yes, New
I just
Colonia.
saw the
Somebody,
John had just written a message to us about the comic. He didn't know there was a comic. There's several GI Joe comic books uh, with me. Uh, the first one I'm not on the cover. That's what they call the Holy Grail of GI Joe comic books. Is the my first appearance, and when people bring them to a show and have me sign them, not only do I sign the outside, but I sign the inside. Makes them twice as valuable. A friend of mine who's a big comic book collector told me that one time. So I always sign both the inside and the outside of that comic book. But there's other, I think there's 3 or 4 other GI Joe comic books that have me on the covers or on the front or the back. But there
I
is
think
only
he was
one.
talking about the Action Force one.
The only one I know that there is one of the Action Force, and I'm on the cover of that one. So if you get a hold of it, it's very well done. I really thought it was a very well done comic book, and I have saved a few for later on in my life to know that I was on the cover of that one. And
Um,
that's
Susan
where
Green says hello.
yes. Hi, Susan. Oh my gosh, great to hear from you. Cora's a great.
And they say that you need to come down to Columbia and have lunch.
Yes, we were there for Michael's graduation from his first stint of his new career, and he wants to go back on the next one. But I unfortunately am booked on his graduation day. So, but we'll
You
get back
did? That's a bummer.
anytime
I
I get
actually don't
near
know if I'm gonna
Columbia.
make it.
Anytime I get near Columbia, South Carolina, there's a special place I like to go to there. Special restaurant. So
Yes, it's delicious.
that,
So, all right. So let's get back to our Europe trip because we're already an hour in here. So,
Bubba, we'll talk
I
with you
went to
later, Bubba.
York.
Okay.
Huh?
I was just answering Bubba, telling him that he and I worked together in Charleston. That's where Don and Chernobyl and I reached out to him in Charleston to no, I'm sorry, that was in Columbia, South Carolina, where I asked him to be my private, and we became the NWA World Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. So anyway, go ahead with your stories on London. You
Well, I don't want to bore
you went
people.
somewhere.
I was talking to somebody today and I was like, I feel like this is the equivalent of showing a slideshow of your vacation to somebody. Like, remember back in the day that was all like, oh, they had us over for dinner and then they made us watch a slideshow of their vacation. So I don't want to do too much of that. So I really only picked out my favorite pictures, and I went to York for the day. I could have spent more time in York, but I got the train there, so this is me actually walking into the city. Um, so
Oh
that's
yeah.
a great I loved York, Dad. I loved York so much that I cried. Does that surprise anyone
Hmm.
that I cried? This is York Minster. I had to lay down on the ground to get this picture. I'm sure I could have gotten this picture without laying down on the ground, but I laid down on the ground
Hmm.
to get that picture. I got to walk the city walls, which have been around since the Romans were
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
So that's part of the walls that I walked. So that was pretty amazing to think, like, one, how long that they've been there and that they're still there and functional and people can still walk on them. But I also had a um like kind of visioning, like standing there, standing watch to make sure the enemy's not coming, and like like how many people lost their lives at the bottom of those walls trying to come over all the fighting and wars and things that they would have. And so it was pretty incredible. And the architecture in Europe or in England, because I haven't been everywhere in Europe. I've been to England and Amsterdam, and that's pretty much it. But it's beautiful there, and we really don't have anything like that here. Like in New York City, there's some old buildings and things like that, but I mean, it was just absolutely beautiful there. While I was in York, I went to the Shambles, which is a very famous street. They say that that's where J.K. Rowling fashioned Diagon Alley in her books about Harry Potter. Um, but she actually said no, that wasn't. what she made Diagon Alley after. But the movie people said, but that's what we designed Diagon Alley after. So that's the shambles. And here's a picture of the shambles of the street. And I'm actually standing in line here for the ghost company because I wanted to buy some ghosts. York is supposed to be the most haunted cities in England, and they actually have a place that you can go buy ghosts. So I went and bought some ghosts, and I bought a little ghost family, and every single ghost is different. And so I spent quite some time. I'm sure the people in line were like, okay, lady, it's our turn. But I wanted to see a ghost that reminded me of my family. So I made a little ghost family. So there's one for me and my husband and my two kids. And it was a lot of freaking fun and pretty cool. And it was fun to give that to them too.
Mm.
While I was there, I decided that I needed to experience a Yorkshire pudding.
Mm.
And you think in the United States, pudding is like a dessert, and it's like it's pudding. You like eat it with a spoon, and it's like chocolate or vanilla or butterscotch is my favorite, and pistachio. But pudding there is like more of like a bread, I would say. So I actually got a wrap, a York pudding wrap. So
Wow.
this is me eating my York pudding wrap. And so you see, it's like, it's like bread. I don't know how to describe it, but it was absolutely delicious. I asked them what the most popular one was. They said it was the pork. So I got the pork one and I got everything on it. I'm like, I want it exactly how you make it. It's exactly how I want to eat it. And so that's what I did. And then on my way out, I walked by this absolutely amazing, they call it a bar, but it's basically like a city gate. So like I think there's four of them in York, and I saw two of them, this one and another one. And this one, I've already left, right? And I turned around and I actually got in the street and took this picture. Um, but if you arrived at York back in the day, that's how you got in,
Mm.
was through that little hole.
Wow.
So it was just kind of cool to be like imagining
Was
like
it like
coming in
a
on my
tunnel?
horse
Like
and
a
like
tunnel?
coming up and having, huh?
Was it like a tunnel?
Well, no, it's like a gate. Like there would be guards there
Oh, okay.
and they would either let you in or not.
Oh,
It's just like it's like a little hole in the gate that you walk through.
I see. That's the only way you get in.
Back in the day, you could only get in through one of these gates, which they call a bar. Because
Okay.
when I was first researching my trip, I'm like, oh, they have bars. I thought they called them pubs. So then I'm like researching these bars and I'm like, oh, it's a gate. I can't go have a drink there.
Yeah. Yeah. You were
So
hammered pretty
that
much
was
the
my
whole while you were
Thursday.
there.
Hmm?
Said you were hammered
What'd you
pretty much
say?
all the while. You were hammered
I
pretty much
was
all.
not.
Oh, I just.
No, I only drank at night with you so I could fall asleep.
Oh, okay. Good.
I'd have a few drinks and then take some melatonin and be like, please go to sleep.
Mm. Yeah. Well, time's getting.
Um,
Oh,
so the next day was Friday, and you and Paul left and went to Glasgow
right.
or Glasgow.
Glasgow.
And you went to Glasgow, which is in Scotland, and I would have loved to have gone there, but I didn't feel like I was going to have enough time to like
Mm.
really see anything. And like what I would want to see in Scotland is in a city. I'd want to be in the Highlands. And I'm an Outlander fan, so I would have wanted to do an Outlander tour and like try to find my own little Jamie, find a scotch on the rocks for myself.
Yeah.
And didn't happen. I decided not to go. And but you guys went,
Yes.
and I went to the London Borough Market.
Mm.
And I specifically went to the London Borough Market because I saw a viral video about chocolate covered strawberries.
Mm.
And I'm not going to show this because it's a video and you're not going to be able to see it. But Dad, look at these strawberries.
Ooh.
Cups and cups and cups and cups of strawberries. They
Yeah.
fill the cup with chocolate
Ooh. Wow.
and then you eat it.
Wow. Oh, look,
Look at that.
man.
And then I'm going to say it's because they recognized me. And so they wanted to give me extra. But the truth about it was, I was like, oh, I wanted to video you doing it. You already did it. And so he was like, well, I'll do it again and put it back under the chocolate and then handed it to me so I could video it. So I got extra chocolate.
Americans.
But that's literally the only reason why I went there is because I saw this video about chocolate covered strawberries.
Yeah.
And then I went to London Bridge because it was like literally right around the corner. And I'm like walking and walking. And I'm like, well, where's London Bridge? I see all these signs and I'm taking all these pictures. And I'm like walking. And I'm like, wait, this is London Bridge. I'm on London. This is London Bridge. It's literally just like an overpass
Yeah.
over water. And I'm like, well, that's disappointing. It's not falling. I've been singing about London Bridge falling down. It wasn't falling down.
Falling down.
And they weren't even playing My Fair Lady. They weren't
Wow.
even playing the song London Bridge. I was very disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I'm obviously joking, but it was a little disappointing, but I got a great view of Tower Bridge, which is the famous bridge that you see with the two towers and then it goes across and it's absolutely gorgeous, but I got a great picture from the bridge of that. And then I saw that they have Uber boats.
Oh, really?
You can get a boat Uber. Like you can be like, I'm on the water and I want to go downstream and I don't feel like walking. So I'm just going to Uber this boat and it's going to take me there.
Wow.
Who knew that existed?
I wonder if they have those down in Florida and places like that.
I don't know, but I thought it was awesome. I took a picture of it. I didn't put it up here because, like I said, I didn't want to be like showing my whole vacation on here. Um, but so after I did all that, I went to, and by the way, let me preface this by saying anytime I had to take the train or the tube, whatever you want to call it, I would go to the closest train station and I would go to the information desk and I would say, I need to go here. How do I get there? Here's my money. Get me a ticket. And so after I went to London on Friday, I was supposed to take a train to Manchester and I was going to meet back up with you, meet some of my friends. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to look like the dumb American tourist anymore. So I am going to go online like everybody else does that lives here, and they get their tickets online. They don't have to stand in line and information. They don't have to do any of that. So that's what I'm going to do. So I get online and I buy my ticket to Manchester, right? It was awesome. I got to be here at a certain time. So I'm rushing, rushing, rushing because I got to get from London to the hotel, which we were staying by Heathrow, and we didn't know that was an hour away from everywhere we wanted to go in London. And so I had to get back to the hotel, pack up all my stuff, check out of the hotel, and then book it to the train station because I got this train I got to get on to go to Manchester. So I'm like, now there's traffic, right? And so I'm like freaking out. I'm going to miss my train, going to miss a train, going to miss a train. So he brings me to King's Cross, which is where my train's coming out of, right? So I get to King's Cross and they've got all these boards with all the trains that are coming and all this stuff. And I'm like, I cannot read that. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Like, I'm a dumb American. I have no idea. So I'm like, tell me. So I go up to someone and I like show them my ticket, which is on my phone. And I'm like, hi, can you tell me which platform this train is on? And he's like, "Oh, I don't think that leaves from here." And so he goes over to one of his friends and they're conversing and they're like, "Yeah, that we don't have a train that leaves this station." And I'm like, well, "What do you mean?" And so they look at my thing again and they're like, "You leave from a this is from a different station." So I'm like, "What? What do you mean it's wrong? It's the wrong station. They're like, yeah, you got to go, but it's not far. So they tell me how to get on that. But then I had to buy another train ticket because then I had to take the train from King's Cross to the right station that I'm supposed to be getting the big train. I'm getting on the big train to go to Manchester.
Mm.
So I get there and I'm like freaking out. What do I have? Now I'm like, now I'm really rushing because I was already late and I don't want to miss a train. I don't know if there's another train to Manchester that night. Like I have no idea. I had no idea. So I book it to the station. I make it to the station. I'm like looking around, looking around. I'm looking at the board that's there and I'm like, I don't know how to read. Like I really don't know how to read this. So I asked the guy who was uh, uh, not, he didn't work there. He was just a gentleman that I saw. And I was like, excuse me, sir, I'm obviously not from here and I don't know how to read that thing. Can you please tell me? And I show him my ticket, what platform I'm supposed to be on. And he's looking at my phone and he's like, this is not, I'm on the train that you want to be on. Like, I'm going to Manchester. He was like, but that's not what this ticket is for. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, that's not the right train ticket. He was like, this train ticket is for tomorrow morning. They do 24-hour time, Dad. Did you know that they do 24-hour time?
Mhm.
Yeah. We call it military time here. They do military time. So I did not know that. So when I was buying a ticket for 5:30, I was buying a ticket for 5:30 in the morning, not 5:30 in the afternoon.
Mm.
So then because he was telling me when they call, when the it finally lights up with our train on there, it's gonna be like a mad dash to get there. He was like, so just follow me. Maybe they'll let you through. You never know. Just you can always try it. Maybe you have to pay the difference, whatever. So I was very thankful for him. We get down there and I go to scan my ticket and it won't let me through. And I'm like, mother. So what am I supposed to do? So then they had to go get the manager. The manager comes over and I'm like, I am just dumb. And I did not know that you guys did 24-hour or 24-hour time. I thought I was buying a ticket for today at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I bought one for tomorrow morning at 5:30. I have to get on this train. And so she's like, well, you're just going to have to buy another ticket. And I'm like, well, where do I go to buy the ticket? And she's like, you can buy one with me right here. So she gets out her handy dandy little handheld thing, gets me a train ticket. I get on the train. Now, by the way, I'm crying. Okay. And they don't like emotions over there. So I'm sure I was making everybody very uncomfortable because I'm the stupid American who didn't know it was military time, who's now crying because she's such an idiot. So anyway, I finally get on the train and I got on the right train and it was like 4 times the amount of money that I paid for the morning ticket to get on the afternoon ticket. And so she was like, you can ask for a refund online. So I'm like, okay. So I go online and I ask for my money back. And I had to fill out a little comment section saying why I wanted my money back. And so I literally said, because I am a stupid American and I did not know that you do 24-hour time. And I said I was trying to be independent instead of going to the information desk and asking. I thought I would be independent and this is what I get. I bought the wrong ticket. And then I was like, I told them how much I paid for my original ticket, the wrong ticket. And then I was like, I paid this much for this ticket, but then I paid 3 times that to get the actual ticket. So please, please, can you please give me some grace and refund me the 35 pounds or whatever it was? And they said no. So I was screwed. So I didn't get my money back. But that just goes to show Kelly that Kelly does not need to do things on her own. Kelly just needs to ask for help and make somebody else do it for me. Yep. So that's my story. So I finally get to Manchester and I'm texting my friends that I have absolutely no idea what time I'm going to get there because now I'm not even on the right train that I have the ticket for. And then the lady said the manager finds me on the train and is like, I actually sold you the wrong ticket. So she sold me a ticket to go from Manchester to London instead of London to Manchester. So she says, you're not going to be able to get out of the station. So she was like, I'm going to stand there and wait for you when the train stops. I'll get off and I will show you. Um, I'll tell them to let you through. And so that's what she had to do. So even she didn't even give me the right ticket.
They're all confused. Not only you.
I just excuse me, apparently just being around me, people lose brain cells.
Yeah.
Oh, so I am way behind on comments, you guys.
What
But I
about
will agree
Stonehenge?
with you,
What about
Lilith. Poor Kelly. Poor, literally, because they took all my money. I bought two tickets to Manchester, and neither one of them were the right one.
Well,
So
the
anyway,
Beatles
so I
wrote a
get
song about
to
that.
huh?
The Beatles wrote a song about that. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, and we don't care.
They did not care. I had two tickets to ride, and neither one of them were the right one. And Brahma says, "Ah, you must have gone to King's Cross instead of Euston." That's exactly right. And I actually, because we were late and we were passing the Euston station, I almost asked the Uber driver if I could just get on the train right there. Like, can I just get on right there? Because, like, I don't want to miss my train. And Brahma, where were you? You could have helped me through this whole thing.
Yeah.
I
Well,
never would have bought the wrong ticket.
next time. Next
Next
time.
time, you're going to have to be my little personal tour guide.
There you go. Yikes.
Dan's here. Dan says
Hey,
hi. Dan
Dan.
Rostad.
Hey, Dan, the man. You were in the biography a lot. Did you see your picture in there, Dan?
Dan,
I,
I'm surprised they didn't interview you. Like, why
I,
didn't they interview you? Why didn't they interview Dan?
I gave
He
him
was
Dan.
your best friend.
Guess he was just too far away for them, I guess.
Oh,
Arizona. There's
well, that
a lot of
stinks.
names I gave them that they did interview. If they did, they didn't make the show.
Dan says, yeah, I saw my picture.
Yeah,
He just posted that the picture of you guys playing football and you're right next to each other.
yeah.
He just posted the whole thing on his
Oh,
Facebook page.
yeah,
And he's not blurred out. He
yeah,
got blurred out
yeah.
on
Got blurred out a couple
the
times.
biography.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Dan said he was in hiding.
Oh, yeah. He was in my confirmation picture too, but they didn't show him either on that one.
Mm. So I finally make it to Manchester, right? And I get to Manchester. This was just the day from you know where. So we get to Manchester and like I'm late to meet my friends, right? They are waiting for me. It's like late at night. It's like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I just arrived to Manchester and I'm gonna get an Uber to my hotel and then I'm gonna check into my hotel and then I'm gonna come and meet you guys. And so they were like, that's great, fine, whatever. So I call an Uber from right outside the station in Manchester. And the Uber accepts, I get the Uber, and I'm looking at my phone, and it's telling me I have to walk like a mile to meet my Uber. So I'm like, what is going on? So I'm like, cancel, 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 because I have no idea. Like, I don't know the city. I don't know where this is. I'm not going to sit there and try to find my way around at night in a city that I don't know. So I cancel it and I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk a little bit further down. So I walk a little bit further down. I see this whole line of black taxis. And I'm like, that is where I'm going to stop and call my Uber. It was right in front of a barber shop. So I call the Uber and it takes a while for the Uber to like, for somebody to accept my call, right? So I'm waiting, 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 waiting. Finally, they accept and they come. And I leave that. I tell them I'm right in front of the black taxis. I'm standing right in front of a barber shop and there's black taxis. No, they don't respond. Waiting, 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 waiting. Finally, he says, I'm here. Can you go across the street? So then I have to cross the street, and now there's all this traffic. I'm nowhere near like a crosswalk. I don't know. Are people going to hit me if I'm not in a crosswalk? Like, I don't know. So now I'm trying to walk around and find a crosswalk. And there's like a rule on Uber, like if you're not there in 3 minutes, they'll leave. So I'm like freaking out and I'm like, I'm coming. I can see your car, but I can't get there. Buses are flying by me. I'm like, I'm going to die. This is where I die. But I finally made it to my Uber. We Uber to the hotel. Get to the hotel, get my room. I got to wait for the guy to come, the promoter to come down. He comes down. We get my room. He walks me to my room. Everything's great. Thank you. I walk into the room and there's only one bed. And I'm like, I'm not sleeping in this bed with my dad. Because it wasn't even like a king size bed. It was like a little bed. And so I call down to the front desk and I'm like, hi. Is it possible to get a room with two beds in it? And the lady at the front desk was like, the reservation, or she didn't call it a reservation, she called it something else, but she meant reservation. She was like, the reservation is for one king bed. And I was like, okay, that's great, but it's not even a king size bed. It's like a double bed. And she was like, the reservation is for one bed. And I went, okay. I hang up with her. I call the promoter. I'm like, I need another bed or a rollaway bed or an air bed or something, a blow up mattress. Like, my dad and I cannot share this bed. I'm sorry. So he gets it worked out. We switch rooms. So now it's like more time, right? That's being taken away from me spending time with my friends. And I finally made it there. So here I am at the
Yeah.
pub
All
with
right.
Space Commander and Terry, TJC,
See,
and Jace,
hey,
little Jace. He was my favorite. He's my favorite 8-year-old.
yeah,
He's the best. I love him. He was so sweet. So I got to meet them. Now, by this time, they've already finished their meal. They're like ready to go back to the hotel by the time I get there. And so they were very gracious and hung out with me. They all had a pint with me, except for Jace, because he's too young. And had a great time. I brought Jace his favorite goldfish crackers from the US and a pop figure of you and which he loved and then got signed the next day. So I had the best time getting to meet them and hang out with them, and they were just absolutely lovely. So the next morning was your Manchester show.
yeah. You slept in.
Hmm?
Did you sleep in that day?
No, I went with you.
You did. I thought you
Well,
went
this
to.
is me.
I thought you went to London.
No, Dad, I met you in Manchester. Remember, you said you don't even have to go. And I said, well, I bought this outfit,
Oh,
so I'm going.
Yeah.
I didn't buy the outfit. I already had the outfit. I just bought the shirt to go with the outfit.
Mm.
But I said, this is what I want to wear, Dad, and I don't have anywhere else to wear it, so I have to go to the show for a little while. Plus, my friends are going to be there, and I want to see my friends. So I went with you.
That's right. I remember now.
And then I got to meet this legend right here,
Yeah.
Mark Potter.
That's the man.
So Mark Potter, he is the man.
He's my
He
first
is legend.
number one renegade.
Yes, number one renegade. And I'm holding up in this picture the custom Slaughter Daughter figure that he made for me
Yeah.
and sent to me, which was amazing. And then we sent him a couple things, including the shirt that he's got on.
Mhm.
But he was absolutely lovely, and I was so happy to meet him. And then behind him in line was a Space Commander and Terry and Jace, and so I got to see them also. Um, but it was a total pleasure to meet Mark and Space Commander and TJC, but especially Jace.
Yeah.
I had so much fun with Jace. So I stood in line with Mark all the way, and I'm sure the people that were behind him were a little mad at me because I totally cut right into line. Well, they call it a queue there. So I just went right into the queue and found Mark. I was like, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. And I got to Mark and gave him a big hug and took that picture and then talked to him the whole time. So I'm sure the people behind me were like, who is she? Like, who does she think she is? She can just come and get in line. But little did they know that I didn't care if I got a picture with you. Certainly wasn't buying anything, so it was fine.
They were lined up for a long, long time.
There was a huge line, a huge line. There was actually a guy, and he was very smart. He had like a little foldable stool, and so he would just sit.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is very smart, and I wish I had one. Can I borrow that, please? Because my feet hurt.
Yeah.
But so I was really happy that I got to walk through or stand through the line with him. And then I got some pictures of you guys meeting face to face for the first time and you guys hugging each other and talking to each other. And I sent those to Mark. And it was funny because I was holding my Slaughter Daughter figure. And so I had her in my hand and then I'm taking the picture and I didn't realize that her head was in the picture. So there's like a very blurred Slaughter Daughter action figure in all of the pictures. And I was like, ah, I guess I had to make my way in there somehow. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So it
Mark
worked out
is very
perfectly
talented.
so that,
Mark is a very talented artist. He takes all the parts of different uh, figures and makes Sergeant Slaughter out of them, or he makes other characters out of parts that he gets at stores that people are throwing them away, or he goes to stores and or people's houses and sees all these different figures of parts, and he puts them all together. He said, "I I have to call him an artist because I don't know what else to call him because it takes a pretty special guy. He made an action figure of you out of
yeah,
different parts. Yeah, yeah, right
yeah,
there. Yeah, pretty amazing.
yeah. He is very talented. And I think he would agree with artist.
Yeah,
I think I think artist is a good word because it is a form of art that he's doing.
yeah, and he paints them all.
Um, yeah, he paints them.
Not only figures, but he
So,
uh, the vehicles also.
mhm,
Yeah,
yep, absolutely. So, it worked out perfectly after meeting him and standing in line with him for him to meet and talk to you and get his Cobra Clutch. He became a member of the Cobra Clutch Club and um Oh, here's a picture of you. So when I uploaded them, some of them came out of order. So that was you at your table
Yeah.
in Manchester. Um, and so I got to leave and I went back to the hotel and let me see. I got to leave and go to the hotel and get dressed. I got changed, and then I got to meet up with some friends of mine, Luke and Emma. And Luke, I was on his radio show a couple times in the UK, in London, and or in England. It was in Swindon on Swindon Radio, if I remember correctly. And I reached out to him when I knew I was going to be there, and I was like, "Hey, I'm coming with my dad to the UK. These are the cities I'm going to be in. Are you near any of those? Like, can we meet up? You know, whatever." And so we were able to work it out where he actually came to Manchester with his wife, and then they took me to tea because I was like, the only thing that I really want to do that I haven't been able to do yet is go to tea. So we went to tea. And so it was called the Richmond Tea Rooms, and it was Alice in Wonderland themed,
Uh-huh.
which is right up my alley. Like I loved Alice in Wonderland. I still love Alice in Wonderland, and it was Alice in Wonderland themed. It was absolutely amazing. It was obviously my first time having tea. I mean, I've had drank tea before, but this was like in a pot with like tea leaves with hot water, and there was like this contraption filter thing that you poured through, and it was just freaking amazing. And it was my first time having tea, and I loved it. So of course I had to get the Queen's Feast. And Emma got the Queen's Feast as well. And so we got to share this little platter here. And so there were sandwiches on the bottom and a quiche. And then in the middle are scones with cream and jam. And then the top were all the desserts. And my favorite out of everything, oh, there's me in front with my cup of tea. Um, but my favorite thing were the scones. I loved the scones. I could have had five of them. Like they were so good. And it was a wonderful time. So here's Luke and Emma and I, and we're leaving the tea room. And we went to the library in Manchester. And the library in Manchester was absolutely gorgeous. This is a picture of the outside of it. I mean, Dad, that's a library.
Yeah. Pretty
It's
cool.
gorgeous.
Yeah. How old do you think that was?
Oh, shoot. I probably would have known the answer to this had you not asked me. Um, that was the ceiling, by the way. Look at that. How gorgeous is that?
Really?
I mean, it's old. It's older than me.
Probably
Um,
older than me.
this just look at the architecture. It's just absolutely beautiful. So after we went there, we walked to a museum and we got to walk through the museum. And while we were in the museum, it started to hail. So I was glad that we were in the museum for that. And then we went to a proper English pub and had a proper pint. I had a proper pint at a proper um, pub, and it was delicious. And I got an apple cider with dark fruit, and it was like my favorite drink. And then after that, everywhere I went, I would be like, "Do you have a cider with the dark fruit, please?" I lost my accent, Dad. When we
Yeah.
were there, I could do it so well, and now I feel like an idiot.
Yeah. No, you don't. You do it well.
So, TM24 says G.I. Joe needs Slaughter Daughter. Baroness needs a Cobra Clutch.
There you go.
I agree. I agree. You know, Baroness totally stole my look too.
Yeah.
glasses, the long hair. It's almost like we could be related.
You don't look anything like the voice of Baroness. Believe me.
No, I've seen pictures of her.
Yeah.
Alberto says greetings from Honduras.
Wow. Honduras.
TM20 Honduras, all the way from Honduras.
Oh,
TM24 says that's a very cool custom that he made. Yes.
yes.
Retro Tinker's here. He says, good day, everyone.
Good day. Good day.
And
Did you?
Dad, Alberto says that when he was a child, he was too poor to buy a figure of Sergeant Slaughter because in Honduras, the majority of us are 90% of the poor population. Really?
Yeah.
So I grabbed the TV in the house and sold it to buy the figure that I wanted of my hero, Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh,
He
wow.
sold the family TV.
Wow. That's a real fan right there. That's that's getting up and getting it done. I bet he's a
Yes.
very successful person today. Anybody that has four names got to be successful.
Well, he said, due to the pandemic, I had to sell all my Sergeant Slaughter figures to be able to feed my son because we are still poor. But I have a dream of one day meeting the living legend.
I hope
Well,
so.
yeah, Alberto, I hope you do get to meet my dad. And I hate that you had to sell your figures to feed your son. Like that's awful that it was so
Pandemic.
desperate for you guys during that time. And
Yes.
I'm sorry to hear that. So Brahma says it was the John Highlands Library that I was at. Yes, that is exactly it, right? And that it is 124 years old. So I was
Wow.
right. It was older than me,
Yeah. It's almost as old as me.
almost, but not quite. So, Manchester, it was a long day because I got up really early and I got ready and I got spent a little bit of time with you at the show. I got to meet Mark Potter. I got to talk to Jace again. Jace gave me a box of goodies for me to take home for me and the kids, um, and my husband too. And excuse me. Um, then going to tea and doing all of that. It made for a long day. However, after the show, we got to meet everybody back at the hotel. And I got this picture of Jace getting a Slaughter hug
Yeah.
from Sergeant Slaughter himself.
Yeah. I love giving
Isn't
those
that
hugs.
awesome?
That's a slaughter hug.
That is a Slaughter hug.
Yeah.
I had a picture of all of us, and now I don't have it. I don't know where it went. They got all jumbled up a little when they downloaded, but I don't see it at all. It did not download.
Mm.
Well, darn. Well, so we got to meet up with back at our hotel with Terry and Spacey and Emma and Luke and Jace and Paul and you and me. We had some drinks and Mark. We had a couple drink. Well, we had drinks. They never drank any alcohol because Mark had to drive, Terry had to drive, but Space Commander did have a glass of wine with you.
Right.
Um, and I had a great time that night.
I did
It's
too.
fun.
I had a great. I
So
had
the
a
next,
great time. And you went off to
Mhm.
London. Then you went back to London.
I went back to London, but I flew. So I got up super early and flew to London and checked in back into the same hotel, took an Uber to a different hotel to get on my tour bus because I went to Bath, Laycock Village, and Stonehenge.
Mhm.
Stonehenge was a bucket trip list for me. um, bucket list trip for me
Yeah.
and has been one since literally since I can remember. I've wanted to go to Stonehenge. So that was absolutely amazing for me. This is Bath. They obviously don't bathe in that water anymore. Apparently, the Romans used lead. They lined the bath with lead, so it's actually toxic and poisonous. So you don't want to get in that water.
Mm.
I thought this was appropriate. This is a statue of Julius Caesar.
Mm.
Since we are, I think we're still in the Ides of March. So
Yeah.
at Tu Brute. Um, the minster there was gorgeous, and my close-up picture did not upload, but King Henry VIII came to Bath and was angry, and he took his sword and destroyed and cut all the heads off of all the statues on the building. So you can see like some of
While
the
you were there.
angels and things on.
While you were there.
No, Dad, King Henry VIII.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was another.
Awesome.
Thought it was a distant relative or.
No.
Oh,
And he actually left, there was a statue of his dad on the building, and he didn't cut that head off, but he
oh,
cut all the other heads off.
I got you.
So I thought that was kind of funny. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I did tour the Roman baths and had a great time. Then we went to Stonehenge from Bath. And like I said, Stonehenge was a bucket list trip for me. And of course, I cried because I'm a crier. And so I took a inner circle tour, so I was able to go inside the stones. So that is me inside the inner circle of Stonehenge. Not a lot of people get to do that. It's a private tour, and there's only two of these tours a day, in the morning before they open or in the evening after they close.
Mm.
And I got to do the first evening tour of the season, and I
Oh,
absolutely loved it. Um, and like I said, I cried. Here's another picture of me in the stones. And the really awesome thing about being there at the time that I was there was the clouds made for such beautiful pictures.
mm.
I mean, absolutely gorgeous pictures. Um, so there's this rock there, Dad,
Yeah.
and it's called Slaughter Rock. The Romans called it Slaughter Rock because when it would get wet, it would turn red. And so the Romans thought that that was the blood from the sacrifices that were made on this rock. So they called it Slaughter Rock.
Mm.
And I don't know if you can really tell, but there's a little pool of water right there in the middle because it had been raining previously, and it's got a little red tint to it. And the reason why it's red is because the stone is full of iron. So when it gets wet, it's rust, basically.
You think that might have been a reason why they didn't use the name Sergeant Slaughter because of that rock?
I don't know if it's because of the rock. I just think it was I mean, I don't know.
I don't
Um,
know.
I
Hey,
doubt it. I
I
doubt
doubt.
that's the reason why. But there's I don't know if how much people know about Stonehenge, but there's actually graves around that go around the circle. And so they're all marked with a stone. So that's one of the grave markers.
Mm.
And then back in the day, some idiot in the 60s spray painted the rocks,
Oh
and
no.
you can kind of see the damage that was done because of all the lichen that's on the rocks was damaged when they had to clean it off. So I kind
Oh,
of filled it in, but they put love
oh
on there. So I marked with purple right
yeah.
there so you could see.
Oh, that's
But
horrible. That's
people
horrible.
made carvings like into the stones. It was not very well preserved. And a lot of people think that the Druids built Stonehenge, but the Druids were just a little late getting to Stonehenge. They Stonehenge was dates 2,000 years before the Druids. So while the Druids may have used Stonehenge, they did not make Stonehenge. Um, they don't know they don't know how they built them. They can only guess in how Stonehenge was built. It's not the only henge. In England, there's actually a smaller one, less known one, called Avesbury, I believe. And I wanted to go to that one, but that tour wasn't happening at the same time that I was going to be there, so I wasn't able to do that one. Um, but I so Dad, basically there's stuff that I didn't get to do while I was there, so that's why I need to go back. So you need
Oh,
to hurry up and get booked so I can get back there.
okay. We'll work on it.
Thank you. Um, so I was there during sunset. So the sun is setting and it was reflecting off of these stones. So I got this picture. I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous. I had the best time. It was the trip of a lifetime. This tour was it was absolutely amazing. I didn't want to leave. Um, and I had a great tour guide, but this is my favorite picture that I got.
Nice, nice. Now that
Isn't that
rock on the
gorgeous?
right, rock on the right, is that part of it, or is it just another
Nope,
something?
that's part of it. So there's that one, and then way on the other side is another one.
Oh, okay,
And it basically, during the summer solstice, it lines up, the sun lines up to those rocks.
gotcha.
There's one on each side.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got a picture of it,
Mm,
if you can see it. I mean, I have pictures of it, but I didn't upload
mm.
all of them.
That's a nice
But it's
photo.
basically this picture, I'm in the middle of the stones facing towards the sun, and the other headstone is that direction towards the sun.
Okay.
Whereas, oh wait, does this picture have it in there? No. Um, so basically I'm on the other side of the stones in this picture.
I get you.
And that was, I mean, look at that picture. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And by the way, that's my iPhone.
Is that
That's
a
not like a professional
put that
photograph, but that's
put that
just
picture up? Put the picture back up. Is that the sun above?
no,
Uh,
the sun is
moon?
behind the rock.
No, I mean the moon up in the sky.
Oh, the moon. No, it's that's a lens flare.
Oh, oh,
So that's just basically the sun reflecting off of the lens of my camera.
oh, I got you.
It's not the moon.
I thought
That would have been a really cool picture though.
I thought that was kind of a
So, Dad, while before we move on to what you were doing while I was in Stonehenge, let's check the chat here. Um So Renee says, I just wanted to say hi to you and your dad. I had two brain surgeries, two strokes in the past 2 years. It's on
oh,
my list to just say hi to your dad.
oh hi, and keep your chin up, chest out, and don't let your enemy eat your breakfast, Renee. Keep thinking positive, positive.
Gaz was just commenting that there's the legendary Jace when I put up those pictures.
Yeah,
And Lilith said, we need to get you two to Australia for some fun.
I'd love to go to
I
Australia.
agree.
Yeah, I want to go to Australia again. Loved it there. Got to get
Yeah,
Zane
but Dad,
booked.
what you need to start doing is taking some time when you go to these places and enjoying it because when you go, you're working. Like I only saw you, except for with the exception of Phantom of the Opera,
Yeah,
I never saw you until the evening time
Yeah, we had to get back so
because you were
go to another show.
right.
Yeah,
But when you schedule these things, you need to schedule them so that you can stay.
yeah,
Either come early to the country, get there early, take at least a few days
yeah,
to sightsee or do whatever, and then do your shows, and then maybe stay a couple extra days.
yeah,
But you need to spend some more time. You've been all over the world,
yeah.
and
I
all
know.
you've seen is the airport and the hotel and the venue that you're at.
That's it. That's it. Couple of
Right.
restaurants. We had some really good meals at that Mario's. Remember Mario's, the Italian restaurant?
Yes.
That was a great food, good time, good people, great odor there.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that picture on the wall of all the celebrities, and you had to pick out which three were still living on it.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah,
That was a very good restaurant.
yeah, I recommend that
It
to
was
any.
a
Recommend
yeah.
that.
Maybe Brahma. Do you know this restaurant? It's called Demario or DeMarco. I think it was
DeMario.
DeMario
Yeah,
in Kensington.
yeah.
And it was delicious. And apparently Lady Diana, um, it was a she frequented it and she was friends with the owner. Um, but uh Michael says, "Hey, Sergeant Slaughter, you are the greatest wrestler that ever lived. I had your G.I. Joe action figure when I was younger."
Thank you, Michael. That's quite a compliment. Thank you so much. Yo, Joe.
Lilith asked, "Did you get the emotional are there feeling? Did you get the emotional feeling from Stonehenge Kelly?" I was very emotional at Stonehenge. I cried. I couldn't believe it. I actually want to cry now talking about it. Um, I made a video and I was gonna post it just talking about how amazing it was, and I couldn't even get through "this is amazing" without crying. I'm getting upset now. It was
What made it so emotional? The rocks, or because you were there?
the energy that's there, the mystery behind it, the fact that I have wanted to go there my entire life and I finally got to go.
But,
And it was amazing. And had I not gone done the inner circle tour, it would have been a totally different experience. I would have been very disappointed had I not done the inner circle tour because you can't even get close to the stones.
right.
It's fenced off. Like you're where I took that one picture. Let me pull that picture back up. Where I was standing when I took this picture, I would say it's at least another 50 feet to where the fence is.
Uh,
And then on the other side of the fence is where everybody else was that couldn't do the inner circle tour.
wow.
So you couldn't even get this close if you didn't do the inner circle tour.
Uh,
And in the inner circle tour, I'm literally in the rocks.
uh,
I'm in the stones.
right.
And the thing is, like, Stonehenge meant a lot to me. So it was a very emotional experience for me because of what it meant to me to go there.
Oh, I guess.
And I I know that there's people that don't care about Stonehenge and would be like, "Oh, it's just a bunch of rocks." And if you feel that way, like Stonehenge is just a bunch of rocks, then don't waste your money on an inner circle tour because the other people that are on the inner circle tour do care about the rocks because it was a lot of money, you know? So to do that tour. Um, and to like go inside the stones. And I just have like so much respect because it's like it's so mysterious. Like, how did they get there? How did they move the stones there? Like, they don't even know, Dad. Like, they have no idea. They didn't have horses to
Yeah.
even pull the horses. Like, this was like 5,000 years ago,
Right.
you know? And so it's like, how did they get the rocks there? I
Right.
mean, I'm not like one of those that just think it was magic and Merlin was there and moved them with, his mind. Like, I don't think that, but it's just amazing to me that they are there and we know nothing. With all the technology and everything that we have and the way that we know now, we know nothing. Like, we really don't know anything about Stonehenge. Very little bit about Stonehenge.
You think it was underwater at
So,
one time?
no, I've never heard that, and they didn't say that during the tour about it being underwater. They did mention like some people think it's aliens, but my tour guide was like, "Oh wait, here's Jim saying it was the aliens." So
Yeah.
my tour guide said, some people think that it's aliens. He was like, "But why would the aliens come to the middle of nowhere in England?"
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like in the middle of nowhere. Um,
It was the hippies.
Dude, Tim, you have to go. Like, you have to make the trip to Stonehenge.
Well,
Um,
as my mother always said, things happen for a reason. She always told me that when I was growing up. Bobby, things happen for a reason. So something happened for a reason for you to get there and see it.
yeah, I mean, I can't even like it's so hard for me to put into words like really what it meant to me
Maybe the
and the
people weren't.
feelings that I had. Hmm?
Maybe the people weren't little. Maybe they were giants.
Yeah, maybe they were giants. They actually, that's one of the theories is that giants moved the rocks. And by the way, it's one thing to get the rocks to the site where Stonehenge is. Like, it's one thing, like, how did they get them there? Blah, blah, blah. How did they get them? It's two stones and then one on top. It's a circle. How did
Right.
they get the stones on top?
Right.
Not just how did they get the stones there, but then how did they raise the stones?
Right. How did
I
they
mean,
live?
there's just so much mystery there. And to be honest with you, I hope it remains a mystery. Like, I hope we never find out. I hope it just remains a mystery. But they've done excavations. The reason why they don't want people close to the stones and touching the stones, because by the way, even though I did an inner circle tour and I was inside the stones, I couldn't touch the stones because there's lichen on the stones and very rare lichen. And touching it can damage the lichen and cause it to break off. Plus, the oils from our hands can damage it. But really, it's not so much the oils in our hands; it's more like just damaging the lichen and it falling off and breaking. Like that one picture I showed where they put those hippies put love on the stones and they had to clean it off and like you can see the demarcation because it destroyed the lichen. The lichen's grown back, but it looks different now.
Yeah.
It's not the same. So there's lichen on the stones from the Arctic Circle, and they
Oh.
don't know how it got there.
Hmm. On your way,
So it's just,
on your way there, did you take a bus or no?
yeah. So
Did,
I was on a big tour bus,
did you see any
and
other rocks in the area, or were they just there?
it was just Stonehenge is what I went to. But there is another place close by called Avesbury. That's another like Stonehenge type thing. It's just not as well known as Stonehenge. And they do believe that some of the stones at Stonehenge came from Avesbury, like were brought from Avesbury to Stonehenge when they created Stonehenge. So Avesbury predates Stonehenge.
But well, what I was saying was, did you see any other rocks like on the side of the roads or in the valleys or wherever you traveled? Were there any other rocks other than that was there at
You
Stonehenge,
mean like
like
there
different.
was nothing else
It was all flat ground, no rocks or anything, only there.
only there?
Oh, pretty amazing.
And the site, I mean, the site's pretty big.
Yeah.
And they found like they've done excavations. They found what they think might have been part of a village, if I remember correctly. Um, um, Phil, it was the perfect day. It was an amazing day. After Stonehenge, we left Stonehenge and we went to Lake Hawk Village, which they've filmed a lot of things there, like Pride and Prejudice. Harry Potter was filmed there. Um, Pride and Prejudice. I think I said Pride and Prejudiced. It's Pride and Prejudice was filmed there. And a couple other things were filmed there, but they were all, most of it was filmed like around the town and then in the Abbey. But because we got there so late, the Abbey was closed. So I didn't actually get to go in the Abbey. And I got to eat at a um, really nice or a really old pub, and the food wasn't that good. So that was the only time I had um a bad meal. And it wasn't even so much bad, it wasn't that great. Was in Lake Hawk Village in the pub, which is from like 1360 or something like that. It's very old. And I got a burger and it wasn't that great. But the thing is, I knew it wasn't going to be that great because the tour reviews of the tour said that the food in the pub that they take you to isn't that good and that you should actually go to the other pub in town and have dinner. But I chose to stay with my tour group because they have other things at that pub that were really cool, such as they have a turn spit. Oh, those didn't upload either. None of my none of my Lake Hawk Village photos uploaded, but they have a turn spit fire. Or yeah, turn spit. So there's only three in the all of the country of England. Two of them are in museums and one of them's in this pub. But there's this big wheel and they would put a dog in there and it was an actual breed of dog called a turn spit dog. And they had short little legs and they would run and turn the wheel, which would then be connected to a pulley that would turn the spit over the fire. So it was called a turn spit dog.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was very interesting, and it was all still there. So I got to see all of that. They had stocks in the back garden, so I got a picture of that. Um, so I left the pub and I walked around the town and I got some really awesome night pictures. And I went back in the pub after I had walked around and I said, by the way, how did they get the dogs to run? Would they put like food in front of them on the wheel so they would go for it? And they said, no, they put fire. They put coal under it so their feet would get hot and they'd have to move.
Oh no.
Yeah. I was like, now I don't think it's very cool anymore. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so this was the wheel.
Oh,
Oh,
the dogs ran in that wheel.
yeah. So they
Wow.
would be in there. Oh, you
Mm,
can't really see it that good.
right. I get the idea
But
though.
anyway, they would go in there, and then you probably aren't going to be able to see this very good, but that was where that was the spit, and it would turn.
Yeah.
Um, but I got some really cool night pictures, and I'm really sad that they didn't upload so that I could show them to you all. um, this is one of my favorite pictures.
The house.
Yeah. they didn't come out very well, but their night pictures and their they came out amazingly. Um, but for some reason they didn't upload, so I didn't get to put them up there for you. Um, yeah, so Brahma knows Demario, and I'm not going to pronounce that because I'm going to pronounce it the American way. In Kensington. So yeah, he knows that. Um, and Gaz says that it was not a lens flare. He thinks it was a UFO in that picture that you thought was the moon.
Yeah.
And Tim says, okay, real question. Out of curiosity, did they have a spot that sold Stonehenge stuff for visitors? If so, what did they sell? Yes, they had a gift shop. And obviously, ticket sales go towards maintaining Stonehenge. It's called English Heritage, and they run a bunch of historical sites throughout England, and Stonehenge is just one of them. But there are other sites that there is no admission fee for. So when you go to the gift shop, it helps pay for everything. So I definitely spent money in the gift shop. I wish I had bought more stuff, but I ran out of time. I had to get on the tour bus and the shop was closing because remember, they only do these special tours in the morning before they open and in the evening after they close. So I got to go to the gift shop first, and then I had to get on the shuttle to go up to the Stonehenge site. And then we could only go so far, and then we walked up to the actual site. But I wish I had gotten more. And I'm kind of mad at myself. Like I didn't get a shirt. Um, I wanted to get a shirt from there, and I was looking going back and forth between a hoodie and a shirt, and then I ended up not getting either. And it's like, what were you thinking? Why didn't you get at least one of the things? And then they had like these like I don't know if they were brass or what they were made out of, but they were like metal, and it was like the Stonehenge thing like this. I wish I'd gotten one of those. What I ended up getting was this bag. I got that. And what else did I get? I got myself a bracelet, which is made out of the Perseli bluestone, which is part of Stonehenge is made up of two different kinds of rocks, and the bluestone is one of those rocks. So I got a bracelet made out of that same stone, and I got a necklace for my son for his birthday. Um, I got a magnet for my fridge because I get a magnet from everywhere I go. Um, I wanted to get a Christmas ornament to put on my tree, and I didn't do that. I was looking at the stuff, and then I was like, yeah, I want to get that. And then the tour guide came in and was like, you got 3 minutes. And I was like, okay. So I just like grabbed stuff um and then bought it and left. And like looking back on it, I'm like, I didn't even buy the stuff that I wanted to buy. I got Cora, my daughter, like a little coin that has Stonehenge on it. There were prints there that I would have bought. I was planning on spending a lot of money at Stonehenge, and I didn't spend as much as I thought I would because I didn't even get all the stuff that I wanted to get. So I'm a little disappointed about that, but I guess that just means I need to go back
Mm.
and get all the things that I wanted to get.
But
Yes, Lilith, I got the touch from Stonehenge. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, I'm gonna get that blown up as big as I can without it distorting because it's for my iPhone. So I can only make it so big. But yes. So Phil says that his wife had some super emotional experience at certain shrines in Japan. There's a Buddhist temple in Thailand that I want to go to, and I would probably cry there too. I would probably cry all around Thailand. But Japan, I'm sure that there's lots of really beautiful shrines there, and I don't know, you just get touched. You get touched. Like I don't, it just you feel it inside, and the fact that I went the feeling that I had when I was in England and all the places that I went, Stonehenge was all emotional on its own, but the York and how much I loved York, the architecture, just like everything, every place I went in England, I absolutely loved, and I felt like a connection to it. It's so hard to explain because I mean, I went to London once before when I was in my 20s, and I saw all like the big things when I was in London in my 20s, so I didn't really care to do all those things again because Westminster Abbey is going to look the same 20 years ago as it does now, you know what I mean? Buckingham Palace is going to look the same thing. The changing of the guard is exactly the same 20 years ago as it is now. So I didn't feel like I needed to see those things. So I wanted to see other things, and it was like the strangest feeling. I don't even know how to describe it. You know what I mean? Like I just felt so it makes me wonder if in a past life I used to say that all the time. In a past life I was a queen because I love like medieval times and I love like fantasy. I love reading fantasy and watching fantasy and like that time period. Like I just love it. I love the clothes. I love everything. Um but I probably if I did live back then, I probably got my tongue cut out. I was probably beheaded a few times. Uh I definitely would have been like way too outspoken, I feel like, as a woman. So maybe in a past life I was a man and I was actually a king or something. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe one day I'll do a past life regression. So Dan wants to know if I've ever been to Sedona. I have not been to Sedona. That is a place that I want to go with the energy vortexes and all of that. I would also love to go to New Mexico for the same reasons. Um, have you been to Sedona, Dad?
Yes, I have, but wasn't there long.
You just saw the airport, the hotel, and the venue.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, Dan, I think I was there in a previous life. I felt such an affinity to it. Like it's hard to explain. Ireland is another place that I would love to go. Ireland and Scotland. Those are two places that I would love to go. Good night, Keith. Have a good night.
Thanks for joining us. We should probably close this up pretty soon anyway.
Yep. Um, so Dad, I have some pictures. So while I was at Stonehenge, you were a busy little bee,
I was.
busy little slaughter.
Yeah.
Do you want me to show the HOF one first or last?
HOF. Yeah, show that one.
Show that one?
Sure. There's a picture of all the Hall of Famers that were at the event in Manchester, and we posed for pictures with anybody that wanted to get a picture with the Hall of Famers. So that was a really cool picture, because everybody knows who those people are. That's Scott Steiner and Trish, Rikishi, myself, Lita, and Sean Waltman. And it's just a great time. Everybody was really friendly and nice, and we all got along. Everybody had long lines, and we get to see much of each other until we had to do photo shoots. That's about the only time we got to see each other.
So, I will say that every wrestler that I saw see you for the first, like come and be like, "Oh, there's Sarge." They all had very nice things to say about you. They all loved you. They all said, "Oh, it's so great to see you, Sarge." Um, so it was really cool. That was really cool. I feel like wrestlers really hold you in a very high regard. And I think that that says a lot about you and your personal character, and who you were backstage, um, behind the curtain. I think that that says a lot because you are so highly respected in the wrestling world. So
Thank
it was cool to see that. I didn't get to see a lot of that. I only got to see that in the morning on Saturday morning in Manchester,
you. Yeah.
but it was cool to see. And then we I got to see Lita and Trish like in passing as we were going to the green room. They were coming down and they were very nice and gracious. They said hello to you. I think they might have given you a hug, and then they stopped and said hello to me, and they had no idea who I was. And so I was like, "Oh, hey, I'm Kelly. I'm Sarge's daughter." And they were like, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you." But they stopped to say hello to me, not knowing who I was, knowing I wasn't a wrestler because they didn't know, they have no idea who I am.
Yeah.
Um, but I was with you. So
Right.
they were being respectful to the people that were with you. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's something that you have to earn respect in our business because there's so many goods and bads, but there's more goods than there are bads, thank God. But
Yeah.
I helped a lot of people out that were on that tour. Helped them with some of their matches. Brought some of them to the WWE. Helped them become superstars, and that was my job. And the only way that I can go out to my mailbox and still get a residual check or a check for things that are sold is if that yellow brick road keeps moving, and it's got to have people to continue on that road. So you have to always look at who's behind you and who's going to pass you. So I always looked forward, and I enjoyed helping somebody do something that they didn't think they could do, or showed them something that made them look better, or showed them a finish move that would help them win more matches. Just basically tell them what to expect and how to treat the business, and take the goods with the bad. It's not the easiest business. Not everybody can be a professional wrestler. You have to love it. I mean, as the biography showed, what we all went through for me to be sitting in front of this camera right now. So I always appreciated those before me, those that were with me, and those that have followed me. And I just hope that it keeps going. And it looks like it's kind of coming back to where it was. It can't go any further. And pretty soon they'll be jumping off the top of the building to get a reaction. So they're getting back to more of the storytelling, slowing it down a little bit because people can't follow it if they're going too fast. So I'm glad to see that Triple H and Shawn Michaels and all those involved uh, now are taking it back to where what they how they were taught to business. How they told the stories, and we're artists. You get in that squared circle, that's your canvas, and you paint the story, and so the people can follow it and watch it. You know, you're that's what we call a ring general, is more above artist, and not many of us become ring generals, but I got to where I became a ring general and helped a lot of people out that way. So I really appreciate when younger talent or older talent come up and say hello, and they actually mean it. It's not just, but there are those that could care less. There was a few of the people on my tour over the UK that I never even said hello to. They didn't come even say hello to me. We were busy, but there were times when we were, you know, at a restaurant or at the bar, no, no response. But I know who they are, and they'll get, you know, what I feel they should get from me after they treat me like that. So, not naming any names.
Well, you're not naming any, but I can
Yeah.
because I was there.
Well,
Um,
probably better not to.
right. Well, I will say this though. I won't name any names. But I will say that you bought some people some drinks
Yeah.
and they didn't come over and thank you. You ended up going over there and saying hello
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the end when we were leaving.
Yeah.
And I thought that was incredibly rude and classless and disgusting behavior of
Mm,
people that should fucking know better.
mm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I
Anyway,
I let them know. I just raised my glass to them and I said, "Thanks for the house." And they knew exactly what I meant. Enough said. Anybody that's in our business and might be listening to this, they know exactly what I meant by that. When somebody's
that they should have been
oh,
saying it to you.
when people are making money and you're the one that's bringing the people in, it's courteous to not. You don't have to buy them a drink, but if they buy you one, you might want to send one back, or at least say thank you. But
Right.
I did
Get
it.
off your
Uh,
ass and walk over the 5 feet and say,
yeah,
thanks, Sarge, for the drink. I appreciate it.
yeah. Well, I appreciated it too. I appreciate everybody being there, and I just, as I said, I let them know. I lifted my glass to them and said thanks for the house. So
Right.
anyway, that's
But
what you
that's what
always.
they should have been saying to you, Dad.
That's
That's what
that's
they should have been
it.
saying to you, not the
Exactly.
other way around.
So I did reverse psychology,
Right.
and what that means is you say thank you for making me money because you do the. If you're the main event and you sold out the place, that means they make more money. So that's what that's all about. That was Nick Nesbitt Nedman. Can't always say his last name, but he's a good guy, and he got the Cobra Clutch.
Oh, the guy I just showed
Yeah, Nick.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nick. I went to bat for when nobody else thought he could do the job, and I went to Vince personally, and I said, "This guy's got it. You need to use him better." And he said, "Well, he hasn't earned it yet." And I said, "Well, he'll earn it, but don't have to beat him down to death so that he doesn't mean anything." And of course, he stayed there a long time. He never really got the push he should have. I thought he was one of the upper talents that they ever had in the WWE. And good guy, good man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I did just want to jump back to the chat here really quick. Dad, you've been to Australia before, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lilith was asking if you'd been, do you remember what year it was that you went?
Oh, it's probably in the 80s, 90s. Yeah. I went in there as a wrestler, and then I went back as a commissioner and also backstage as a producer.
So you've been there twice.
Yeah. I think maybe 3 times. I'd have to look back at my books, but it was always a long trip, but it was well worth the trip. And it was so fun to be there because they were so Americanized. I mean, everybody was wearing blue jeans and cowboy boots and ate the same food that we did, and you didn't have to like when you went to Japan. You had to learn how to eat their type of cuisine, but that was the experience of it too. It was first six
Right.
times I went to Japan, I didn't eat sushi, so we had to find American restaurants, and nobody spoke English too well back then, so we'd have to take the waitresses out and point at the plastic food in the window and say, "That's what I want." You know,
I want that, please.
yeah, give me two of those. It was mostly rice and curry with some chicken. That's about all we ate. But then I finally got
Yeah.
into sushi. That made it a whole lot better.
Yeah, once you started liking sushi,
Yeah,
it did make it better.
yeah,
Scott says, I've seen Kelly lift in the gym. I don't think those folks should piss her off.
yeah. That's right.
Wow. That's right. Wow, Rob Vegas is here. Good day, Rob. He says
Hey, Rob,
hello.
good to see you, or good to see that you're watching. Good day.
All right. By the way, Zazel, you have like a little wrench next to your name. What does that mean? Why do you have that? What does that mean? I'm
I
just
think
curious.
I don't think that's a wrench. I think that's like a thing that you screw in to get voltage. Is that what that
I
is?
don't know.
No.
Well, it's a tool of some
Yeah,
kind. I'm
but it
just
is a good.
wondering.
That is a good thing that he sent. That if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to hit that like button.
Yes, make sure you subscribe to the Slaughter Daughter channel so you can continue to get notifications about all of these pods that we do. Um, Andrew Crank says hi from Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh, Edmund,
Sorry,
gosh,
Andrew Crank. I think I said Edmund. I don't know where I
yeah,
got Edmund out of Andrew, but
Ed,
Andrew says.
Alberta.
Um,
That's up. Remember those trips to Edmonton and Calgary, and just some great country. I love Calgary so much uh, because of it was more of a westernized cowboy atmosphere. To me, it was anyway. Everybody was wearing cowboy boots and jeans and cowboy hats and or riding horses, and I really liked Calgary, and Edmonton wasn't far. They had the best food. They had the best. I don't know what they're noted for in Edmonton, but they sure had some good Chinese food there. It was some of the best. Yeah.
so Richard says that you rule and he got tickets for the meet and greet next month.
All right. Great.
Um,
Is that the one in
Scott
Philadelphia?
said, is that the one in Philadelphia, Richard?
That's so
Scott
fun.
said, come to Austin, Kelly, with your dad next week. You're going to Austin next week, Dad?
Yes, not this weekend, but the following weekend. It's a Saturday show. I think it's the 25th. Is that Saturday the 25th? March 25th? Anyway, it's Easter weekend, and I don't have to work on Easter. I get to come back for Easter. So
Nice.
yeah.
So Terry says, I don't know why my comments aren't being seen, but I guess I gotta run now. I've been watching almost this whole time thinking Sarge was gonna say something to me, but it's only a few people that are getting recognized for their comments. Not sure why I have to do to get Sarge to say something to me. I don't even see the comments that Kelly is showing.
Terry Lee,
So Terry,
we see your comments now, and hello. Glad you could join us. Hope you enjoyed the show.
yes. So, Terry, I have a list of comments here, and they're all compiled from like the five places that this is showing. And you're coming from Facebook, and there's some people commenting from YouTube. Um, and it's actually being streamed on three different places on Facebook and then also through YouTube. So that's why some of the comments you're not seeing but are being posted. It's just because they're probably from a different, they're watching from a different place than you are. And I have a really hard time of doing two things at once. And so if you were posting things and I didn't get to it, it was because I didn't see it. And or it moved too fast. The chat moved too fast because there's a lot. I mean, like I said, we're streaming in like 5 different places, so there's a ton of comments. So I truly apologize. I also really wasn't um and I really wasn't putting up any questions on there, like major questions, because we've already been on here for 2.5 hours, and I was just trying to get through what we had already planned to get through, and I didn't want my dad to have to start answering a bunch of questions. Um, so Terry, I apologize. Okay.
We're new at this, Terry. We'll get it.
Yep. Um, so let's see. So 12 over 15 people watching, only 12 likes. But see, that's just from where you're watching from, because I can see everybody that's watching and it's more than 15. So Scott says drinks and barbecue are on me when you're in Austin.
Okay.
Luke is saying, you made me laugh so much with your English accent, and our day with you was a laugh riot. We have great memories of that day, and I'm amazed you didn't get tired after all of that. I had an amazing day, Luke, and I hope that you guys had a good time too. And I so think that you and Emma totally made my trip to Manchester memorable for the day, because I would have been walking around by myself because my other friends that were there to see my dad. So they were at the venue with him, and I would have been on my own, or I would have been there with my dad the whole time with my feet killing me. So I really appreciate you and Emma taking me around and taking me to tea, and to the museum. And then I got to have a proper English drink at a pub. So it was absolutely amazing. Um, I can't wait to come back too. And he's got some questions about his roof, Dad. He's got questions about his roof.
Yeah, I'm a roofer. Grew up on a roof. If you got a
Yes,
leak, uh, it's best to get it
yes.
done
It's very hard to get
before it
everyone's
starts
comments
raining
on
again.
stream. The best time to fix a leak is when when the sun is shining.
Yeah, don't wait till it starts raining again.
Yes, it is very hard to catch all the comments. And I actually, the way this is set up, and I have to go out of comments, so I can't even see the comments anymore when I go to put pictures up and stuff. And so when I come back to comments, there's like 70 comments, and I have to go through them all while he's talking, and then I can't even listen to what he's saying and all of that. So honestly, it was not personal. And so Terry says, I was just sharing that I got an original G.I. Joe Sarge from '86, and I was so excited, and that he is one of um, their heroes.
Wow, that's
So
very
you're a big
highly
hero.
very highly collectible GI Joe Sarge from 1986. And not only are you my hero, I'm your hero too.
Um, so let's see here. So there were some other people that joined the Cobra Clutch Club, Dad.
Yes, there was. Shelton Benjamin, one of my all-time favorites, Minnesota boy, uh, did very well in the U of M wrestling, and was always a very good professional wrestler. Another guy that never got the push he should have, a lot like Nick. And but always a gentleman, always went out of his way to come by and say hello to me. And he actually collects action figures and GI Joes, and 3 or 4 times came by our booth and said, "Sarge, I want one of those." I said, uh, "Just let me know." And he'd come by and come by, and of course, finally I told Paul, I said, "Shelton Benjamin wants to get one of these figures, one of those rare ones that we have." And so he picked. I said, "Pick one out." And when he picked the most expensive one, and Paul was kind of like, "Oh, Sarge, what do you want to do?" I said, "Give it to him. He's my friend, you know." So he was very gracious. I signed it for him, and he's going to put it in his collection. So that meant a lot to me that he actually did that. You're a good man, Shelton. Oh, there's one that I've always wanted to put in the Cobra Clutch. All these years, I finally got him. Scott Steiner. His nephew is up and coming into the WWE. His dad's son, uh, really a great wrestler, Rick Steiner, and Scott is one of those guys that doesn't do much partying or anything like that, but he's a good guy. And if there's ever a problem or a fight or I need somebody to help me out, that's the guy right there that you want to have on your side because he can kick some ass. He's from Michigan. He and his brother both went to Michigan, and they can really do a
U of
job.
M, Michigan?
Huh?
They went to U of M, like
Yes,
University of Michigan?
yes. Your husband would
Wow.
be very proud of them. I'm sure he is.
Yes.
But I put Scott in the Cobra Clutch. I just gave you this picture because there's a couple where he's kind of crying a little bit, but I didn't want to show that side of him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and of course Rikishi, he said the Cobra Clutch had to have the Cobra Clutch. I had to use a working Cobra Clutch on him. You see, my hand is locked into his there. That's called the
Yeah.
That's the working Cobra Clutch. That's where you let go of it real quick if somebody's in a lot of pain. Usually, I grab the wrist. I don't grab,
Right.
you know. So, but he was tapping right away. So I took my hand off his wrist and slid it into it and grabbed his hand, so it wouldn't be so painful. Yeah.
You're torturing these poor wrestlers, Dad.
Yeah. Well, that's what they have to go through to get the challenge coin.
Right?
Yeah. There's There's my man, Sean Waltman. He stayed at our house, remember? And
Yeah, I do.
couldn't even, much less say his name, but he had to do a 20-second promo that took us almost 8 hours to do a 20-second promo. But he worked through it. And he's one of those guys that very uh, happy that I helped him out because he was in nowhere's land, and I saw him at a box of tapes. He was down in Dallas, Texas, working, and I gave the tape for Vince to look at, and he said, "Sarge, he's a little small, isn't he?" I said, "Yeah, but he can work. He can't have all heavyweights." He goes, "Yeah, you're right. Bring him in for a tryout." And he ended up beating Razor Ramon on Monday Night Raw one night and made him an instant star. And so happy for him. And anytime I see him, he is very gracious and always thanks me for what I did for him. Those are the kind of guys you just can't get enough of. And he appreciated. He has always appreciated what I did for him.
I remember when he came to our house,
Yeah,
and I remember you told me to stay away and like not annoy him.
yeah. You probably want to
So
wrestle him.
I did. I stayed away and did not annoy him.
Yeah,
And but yeah, I remember that. And he was like, "Oh," I said, "We've met before, but you probably don't remember me because I was told to leave you alone."
yeah, yeah.
I was like, "I
Oh,
would have had you wrestling in the basement with me."
there's John Morrison, really, really good guy, and another guy that didn't really get the push that he should have. Very, very, very talented wrestler in the ring, and just had a tough time doing promos, but he got it. He didn't find his character like a lot of us. Like when I was Beautiful Bobby, I couldn't. When that red light came on, I froze. I half the time my teeth were chattering, and just was a horrible time. I had high blood pressure trying to figure out what I was doing in the business, and I was told by a doctor that if I wanted to live, I should get out of the professional wrestling business. I said, why? I said, it's not that tough for me. He said, it evidently is because your blood pressure is sky high, and you're telling me it only happens when you get in front of a camera, and that's 90% of your job. So you might want to get out of it. So that's when I decided I need to find a character. So, hey, Victor, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate those comments. Tough Nerd Toys. You're the best, Sarge. Cutthroat Comics. Nope, never
So
got the
he wants
sticky.
to know for
Never got the sticky face. But I saw a lot of them that did. That was a rough one. There was nowhere to go. The secret to a good clutch is get someone pretty groggy before you put it on him or her. But most of mine now are for fans and for fun photos. So it's a whole different ball game now. But that's where I use the slaughter cannon, the old clothesline I call the slaughter cannon. That usually knocked them pretty silly. And if I couldn't pin them from that, then I would wait for them to get up and put the Cobra clutch on them. That was pretty much it. But you got to get those two carotid arteries at the same time. You can't just get one and not the other. You got to get them both in at the same time. Unlike a sleeper hole, they only work on one side of your carotid arteries. So, but the Cobra clutch works on both carotid arteries, and most of the time, you it's pretty painful, so you'll tap out or say, yeah, that's it. Some some people that I put it on, they went out because they went tap. So
So Zazel said, Sarge really put that Cobra Clutch on hard at Joe Fest. Look at my face in the A&E special. But
yeah,
Zazel, you went back and kept getting more and more and more.
I've never given away so many challenge coins as I did to Basil. He was a collector, I guess. All right. He loved pain, one or the other. I'm not sure.
Did you ever put Triple H in a Cobra Clutch, Dad?
I sure did. In our infamous boot camp match at Springfield, Massachusetts, during one of those pay-per-view events. And the only way he got out was because China helped him.
Ah,
There you go.
good old
Three-time
China.
gold holder, proud three-time coin holder. You are the man. You're the only one that has three of them that I know of. Yeah, That's for sure. Best
Basil
way.
said it's the best way to go to sleep.
Maybe I should start a
Lilith
sleep.
said that Amy's,
I should
huh?
start. I should start a sleeping service. Can't go
You
to
should.
sleep.
Insomnia?
Can't go to sleep.
Insomnia?
Give me a
Get a good
call.
book.
I'll be right over.
Yeah.
Sergeant Slaughter's sleep aid, the Cobra Clutch.
So Lilith brings up a good thing here. She says the A&E special was great. Not everybody liked the A&E special, Dad.
They did.
There was one podcast that we listened to.
Oh, Jim Cornette and Brian. What's his last name? I think his last name is Last. Brian Last. I see why he's called Brian Last, because he wouldn't come in first anywhere around me. But I really don't know the guy. I probably met him. Cornette, I know very well. I hope we're still friends. He thought the biography was pretty good for me. Uh, it's just that he kind of disrespected you and your sister and your mother a little bit more than I wanted. I don't know what his problem is. He just has a problem. And half the things that he was saying on his podcast, he had no idea what he's talking about because, hell, I don't think he's ever taken a body slam that I know of. I don't even know if he's been in a ring and had a wrestling match. He probably has, but I don't imagine it was very
Hey,
good. He was
hey,
basically,
Dad, can you wipe off the you got a little spit there
I do.
on your on the camera, where the camera is.
Where's the camera?
Nope, over the other way.
This way.
It's not, it's probably on the side. Yep, go down a little.
Here.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay.
Okay. I lost you. I'm in somebody else there now. Anyway, so, but, they have their podcasts and they said some things that I didn't appreciate. And there's three commandments, Jim Cornette. I don't know if you'll even be hearing this or you'll hear about it. I'm going to tell you to your face one day when I run into you, or I might call your podcast and talk to you directly. But there's three commandments that I was taught when I became a professional wrestler. And one is you don't touch my food, you don't touch my money, and you never, ever talk bad about my family. I'm not just talking about me. That's a wrestler's commandment. When I'm saying I'm talking about every wrestler that ever put on a pair of wrestling boots. Those are three commandments you never do. You don't touch anybody's food. You don't touch their money, and you don't talk about bad about their family. So when you get the balls to apologize to me, I'll look forward to it. Because I know you probably didn't mean it. You just a loud mouth. You say things that you shouldn't say, and those are those things. I know we talked earlier in this show about Kelly having some pudding. What'd you call that? Beef pudding, Kelly, or that you were recommended. But here in the
The
States,
Yorkshire pudding.
yeah, right. We think of pudding in the States as something for dessert, like what did you say, chocolate pudding, pistachio pudding, and apple pudding, and you know, all bread puddings and all that. Jim Cornette knows a lot about banana pudding. if you know what I mean, Jim. And you liked it so much that Vince McMahon wanted you to have bananas around you all the time. But did I ever bring that up till now? No, out of respect. I saw the pictures. Weren't too good. Weren't very nice pictures, but I saw them. But did I ever once say to you or go on a podcast or say something about it? It was a pretty an embarrassing moment for you, but I never did that. But you just got to be careful who and what you say about people. You know, just think about it next time. And you know, I've always admired your talent on the microphone, but you've kind of gotten a little bit way out there. And to actually mention that, I think you said something when the Iron Sheik hit me with the foreign object that I may have used a razor blade. You think I would do that in front of my family, my two little girls and my wife in the audience? You think I'm some kind of a fucking idiot? Anyway, I'm not going to go too much further about it, but I just didn't appreciate. I appreciate you giving me a good comment on the biography that you liked it. Pretty much you liked it, but then you kind of put down my daughters and my wife, and I didn't really appreciate that at all. So I hope you got the point, and that we can just kind of let it go bye until we see each other face to face, or maybe we get on a telephone call, or see each other at a signing or something. But just want to let you know I didn't appreciate it. And my family sure didn't appreciate it either, because hard, as I said at the beginning of the show, it's hard to do a 75+ year story about your life in 2 hours. So a lot of things that were talked about got cut out of the biography. And not every time that my daughters talked did they cry. They just happened to put that part in the show when they were crying, because that's what it was about. It was a love story, actually, in a way. How I met Diane, and how I got to the camp in the first place through my childhood, and all I went through with going to the camp and getting married, and then having to get into the wrestling business, and then I had to quit because of my mother's health, and it was a tough battle, and we all went through it together. Diane had the worst of it all because she hated the business. I don't know too many wives that liked the business, but that was her
Well, you
story.
also didn't marry a wrestling fan like a lot of them did. You didn't marry a wrestling fan. Mom did not like wrestling before you got into it, and she didn't like it during it because it took you away from us. So
Right,
you didn't marry a wrestling fan.
right, right.
You
And
know what I mean? And
plus, Jim, I know your wife very well, Janice, and I've never ever done anything when I see her but give her the ultimate respect that I felt that she deserved, because she was married to you. And she was in the business. She went by the name of Sin. But did I ever, you know, she had some pretty wild stories. Did I ever write about it or talk about it or disrespect her or you about it? No, I did not. I did not. So, careful, careful what you do sometimes, because it come back and bite you right in the ass, just like those bananas, right in the ass.
I'd
Anyway, I
actually, do you know his address? Because I'd love to send him a case of bananas.
don't, we don't want to get into that. We'll just drop it, and nobody really needs to know that doesn't know. But there are people that know, and he knows what I'm talking about. So anyway, that's all I
I
say. I've said my piece, and I feel better about it, knowing that I said something for my daughters and my wife that I truly love and respect with all my heart, and I expect everybody else to.
I think that when there's a man that is uncomfortable, so much so that they have to speak about it on a podcast, so uncomfortable with watching women have emotions. I feel things deeply. My sister feels things deeply. I'm sorry that the women in Jim's life don't feel things deeply. Sorry, Jim. Um, I think that I was talking about feeling or thinking because I was how old, Dad? 5 years old, 6 years old,
Yeah,
watching what they didn't show in the A&E biography was the whole story, which was the Sheik brought out a weapon. I didn't know what it was, no idea. But it was a weapon and he was holding it up, showing everybody that he had it and he was going to get you with it. And he would put it in his belt and the ref would check his boot. And then he'd turn around and take it from his belt and put it in his boot. And the audience is saying, it's in his belt, it's in his belt. So then he would check his belt and it wouldn't be there. And then the audience is going, no, it's in his boot, it's in his boot. And he would move it from the boot to the belt. And that went on and on for an eternity, for what seemed like an eternity to me as a 5 year old getting ready to watch my dad have this big fight. My first wrestling match, Jim. First wrestling match at 5 years old. Do you have kids? Do you know what it's like to have a 5 year old? Do you remember what it was like to be 5? Would you have wanted to see your dad get his head split open and be bleeding all over the place? Would you? And guess what? I was not smart to the business because I was fucking 5 years old. You idiot. Fucking moron. That made me so mad, Dad.
well, you got to get
And it
over it.
is kind of nice to be able to say something back.
No,
Who knows if he'll ever see this? I really don't care. He literally means nothing to me. So it was more of a shock to me the way he was talking because I know that you did have some kind of relationship with him, a friendship, if you will. I know, as you say, you don't have friends in this business, and that's obvious. But it was just like, it was shocking to me that he would come after me and my sister and my mom because we were being emotional and because mom didn't like the business. She wasn't a fan. She was never a fan. She didn't like the business. Um, I mean, it is what it is. And my mother did not traumatize me. Iron Sheik traumatized me. Watching my dad get his head split open in front of me while I'm front row traumatized me. It wasn't my mom. And had my mom known that that would have was going to happen, she wouldn't have had us there, and neither would my dad. And I think that you know my dad well enough to know that he wouldn't do that to me or my sister on purpose. You may not know my mom, but I know my mom pretty well. And she's not going to sit there and let us get traumatized, nor is she going to further traumatize us. My mother never said anything bad about the business to me and my sister. She always said, Daddy's working, Daddy's working, Daddy's working. My dad would tell me that he was dancing because he was trying to protect us. And I did not get smart to the business until I was 11 or 12 years old when he became an Iraqi sympathizer. That is when I became smart to the business. That's when he smartened me and my sister up to the business because he wanted us to know that he really wasn't doing these things, that it was his character. So I think you've got a lot of nerve. And you're maybe my mom isn't a likable person to you. She probably wouldn't give a shit about you. None of us give a shit about you. And I personally think you, never mind. I'm not even going to talk about what you look like. I'm not going to go there. Um, but it wasn't nice. And I know that your gimmick is to be an asshole, but go be an asshole somewhere else. You don't need to be an asshole to me or my sister or my mother. It's completely unnecessary and uncalled for. And there's a lot of stuff that I could say because I'm not as nice as he is. And I've heard all the stories and I've seen the pictures, not only of him, but of your wife. So I'm not going to go there because I have more class and respect than that. But I will if you push me to. So excuse the hell out of me for getting emotional. So sorry, Jim. I'm sorry that you're such a weak man, that seeing women be emotional affects you in such a way that you have such a negative reaction to it. You're small, insignificant piece of shit. And enjoy the case of bananas when it comes, because I'm going to find your fucking address and I'm going to send you a case of bananas. That's all I
Okay,
have to say.
that's enough of all that. We said our piece, and
What, Dad? We can't hear you.
I said that's enough of all that. It's not worth really going any further with it. If there's any other things you want to comment on, uh, any other questions that have come in, thanks, Sarge, again for the awesome childhood. Yo, Joe, much respect. Salute. Yo, Joe.
So Walter says, I'm sorry, Kelly. I felt so badly for you guys after watching the documentary because I never really thought of all of it when I was watching. And he was my hero. All I could do is cheer him on. Yeah, that was a very hard time in our family.
Yeah.
It was a very hard time in our family, and especially the Iraqi sympathizer days were probably the hardest.
Well, you were older too.
Yeah. Well, it was different. Like, so that wrestling match with you and Sheik, when I was like 5 years old, that was the first wrestling match I saw, and then it was the last wrestling match I saw. I think I did see one other one, um, but it was, I think within that same weekend, maybe. I can't really remember, but it was the last wrestling match I saw until I was much older, like much, much older. Um, And that was just wrestling was not, it was a part of our lives because it was what you did for a living,
Hmm.
but it wasn't, you didn't bring it home.
Right.
Like Uncle Don is, um, was a wrestler, Don Kernodle. I called him Uncle Don. My sister called him Uncle Don. And I didn't even know him and his brother Wally wrestled. I had no idea. He was just my Uncle Don, my dad's best friend who came to visit us all the time. And I had a lot of fun with him and his brother. And They'd come for Christmas and Easter. I mean, they were at our house all the time. I didn't even know he wrestled. And I remember being shocked when I found out he wrestled. Like it just wasn't a big part of our lives. Like you didn't come home and talk wrestling. Like you weren't talking about it all. You know what I mean? You were home and you were spending time with me and Nicole and with mom.
Right. Well,
So
as in anything, there's always got to be somebody that's got to be different and talk negative about something good. So, uh,
there's going to be negative everywhere, but I think it was just shocking as to who it was coming from in a way. Although it's
right,
on one hand, it was shocking just because it was coming from someone in the business that should know better. But then it was also not shocking because of who it was coming from.
right, right.
You know what I mean? It was just, it's garbage. Everything about him is garbage.
Care, careful what
Um,
you wish for, you know. My
what's
father,
that?
that was my father's. Oh, careful what you wish for. Can come back and bite you in the ass.
Yes, Phil, I'm watching my dad, not a wrestler. Like, I didn't know the distinction between the two. That was my dad that I was watching. I wasn't watching Sergeant Slaughter. I was watching my daddy. And I watched him get his head busted open and bleeding. And no, he wasn't bleeding like during the alley match with Pat Patterson. It wasn't like that, but he was still bleeding and it was enough for us to freak out and make us think that he was murdering our dad. I mean, and so sorry that I got emotional thinking about my dad being murdered in front of me. I don't know what I was thinking. How dare I? Um, anyway, so Dad, we've been on here a little over 3 hours.
Yeah, I guess it's time to close out.
Yes, it's time to go. Um, Chris said, I seen my dad in a bar fight. That was a terrible Christmas.
Yeah. Oh,
I hope you're joking, Christopher. Um, yeah.
thanks.
So I,
Thanks for everybody for tuning in.
yes,
Do we know when we're going to
we're
do
gonna get
another
another
one?
one. Yeah, we'll get another one set for April.
Okay.
Sometime in April, we'll get another one on, maybe sooner, who knows? Just kind of depends on what's happening. Oh, Chris says it's a joke. It happened on Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Dan says it was great to see you too. Um, I know Shawn Michaels said he didn't let his children watch until they were a lot older. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't supposed to be that kind of show. There wasn't supposed to be blood.
as far as I know,
Um,
Cornette didn't have any children. So I don't know how he could even talk about it if he didn't even have children.
so he literally has no idea what he's talking about because he didn't have kids.
Right. That I know of. I don't know. I don't ever remember seeing any of his children or hearing that he had children. He may have had children with his first wife, or I don't know. But anyway, that's all over with. You got it off your chest. I got it off my chest. And hopefully we'll see you
Well,
all again.
I had a lot more to
April.
say, but I stopped myself.
Right. Thank you, Yvonne.
Someone's watching from Burlington,
All right, Christopher.
not the Burlington where Burlington Coat Factory came from. In fact, Burlington Coat Factory didn't come from a town called Burlington.
There
Just
are
so you
there
know,
are
Jim.
there are Burlington coat factories here, but
They're all over the country.
we're more famous for textiles, furniture.
Yeah, High Point, North Carolina is like the destination for furniture in the Southeast for sure.
Yeah,
Maybe even further.
yeah.
All right. All right, Dad.
All right.
Well, I love you. It
Love
was
you
good to
too.
see you.
Thank you all for
Hopefully I
watching.
get to see you soon. Yes, thank you for watching.
Don't
Thank
forget
you
to
for sticking with us. If you were
don't
here the
forget to
full
push
3 hours,
that button that Zazel told you about.
don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Like and subscribe.
Now you know.
And now you know. Everybody, I hope you have a great day and thanks for joining us. And we will see you next time. Slaughter daughter, the badass bitch. As you were.